We don't want to overtly spoil, even though this is the ending, so we'll just skip here. And skip the other cutscene. And don't look into why somebody's not on the screen. But thank you, everybody. I'm personally going to... My little marathon thing is... So that my time is 48:52. So every minute over 48 on the run I do, I'm going to donate some. So that is, what, 2 minutes? So probably 100. But thank you, everybody. Shout out to really everyone is able. Want to make sure everybody can game. And I believe up next is... Oh, I can't remember the game, so I'm just pulling up the schedule for you guys. I cannot pronounce that. Wow. Koudelka? All right. Koudelka for you guys.
I don't even know when we're live on the screen yet.
It looks like it's live.
Is it
Can
live
people
or
hear
people?
us? Hello, hello.
Oh, I need user feedback at this point. I don't
Game
have.
looks fine on Twitch. I don't know if people can hear us.
It should. It should also be seeing Koudelka. Because it's gonna be a vibe and a half.
It's live and you're audible? Okay, awesome.
Oh,
Hello,
great! That's
everyone.
fantastic. Welcome. I am a Mash, and I have Kath on commentary with me for Koudelka.
Hello.
This is a wonderful video game. Please get rid of that thing. The
Don't
game,
love the boomer tuber?
I can get rid of the game very easily. In fact, we can just go ahead and remove the game right now. I do want to be a little bit smaller here. Anyways, yeah, this is Koudelka. It is a, I don't know, how do I describe this really quickly? It is a Lovecraftian horror themed tactical RPG. Yeah, that's about as good as we're gonna get as far as describing this game in a nutshell. So yeah, like Kath is gonna help walk us through the game along with myself, who has been working on this game for quite a while now. This game is incredibly heavy on RNG. We'll explain as we go through. But first things first. So couple things to note about Koudelka. This game is really heavy on RNG. I have to set up my config because triangle is not a good button for running when speedrunning. Circle is, because your confirm is X. Anyways, we're gonna start time in, well, I don't even know, is anybody ready on time? Alright, time will guess I'll be on 3, 2, 1, go.
And we're going.
We
Oh,
are,
wait.
no? I hope we're going. If not, start the timer now, because I just skipped the first cutscene.
Oh, there it goes. Okay.
We're good. I hope. Alright. So, I'll explain right now, and then Kath will be explaining some stuff when we get to it. So, we have a werewolf fight, which is technically the first boss of the game. This game is nothing but boss rushes, pretty much. And ideally, werewolf goes down in 3 to 5 hits. You're hoping for 3, maybe 4. Very RNG. I have no idea. We had to use a gun. We've in the cutscene. We fell off the roof of the building. God knows why we decided to climb that. I guess the gate was locked. And fell through the window. Bumped into this bad boy. And then one of the dudes that was in the room threw us a gun. His name's Edward. We'll be meeting him shortly and then skipping the interaction with him because we don't care. This looked like 4-turn werewolf. It's just a bit slow.
Yeah, so it's okay because we might be able to see the werewolf again. We have our very first reset heavy section of the game right after this, where we're gonna pick up some weapons, and we'll talk about that more once we get there. But basically, this is basically the only reset point that has been factored in. And just in case it goes wrong, we do have a backup. But yeah, so we're meeting Edward, who is, I guess, spoilers, the love interest of the game.
Yeah, we'll find out more about that at the end.
Uh, but yeah, there's gonna be one other party member that we pick up later, and he's the single best character in this whole game. So once we get to him, we'll introduce him properly. But right now, we're gonna hope that the game is really nice to us, and we are going to hope and pray for some good weapons. There are a bunch of different types of weapons you can get in this first section. There is basically the way that combat works. Pretty much every enemy has an elemental type, and if you're familiar with a lot of JRPGs, they're weak to different types of elements. So what we want ideally is a water weapon and a fire weapon, but we can basically run with any weapon that's not mystic, light, vital, both if both weapons are water or both are fire. And we're gonna see pretty quickly if we're gonna have to reset or not. But basically we can run with the weapons if they're both normal, if we have one water or one fire weapon and another thing, as long as it's not Mystic, Light, or Vitality.
Yeah, I mean, those are the 3 real bad ones through playing this game casually.
Yeah, every other element is fine, so.
You just want a decent combination of weapons, but yeah, best possible weapons, fire and water. So we're going to do our quick first check now. So in the estimate, we have figured in about 10 to 15 minutes worth of garbage RNG for this particular section alone for the most part. My current PB is a 208. Obviously, I wouldn't fly for a marathon. Firehammer water pipe! Oh
Holy
god!
moly.
The fucking
the god
tier
RNG.
the god tier RNG, and I finally get it. Oh, I wasn't prepared. I was literally ready for a reset.
Yeah, so this is the best possible combination we could actually get, as the first 2 bosses are weak to fire and water respectively. Or my god, yeah, fire and water respectively. So this is gonna be a really good run, and we're gonna hope it keeps up with that. Oh, the disc cover is open.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Don't
it's okay. We're fine. We're fine. Nobody
that god tier RNG though.
Yeah.
Okay, listen. Okay,
crashes.
I want to explain something, and then we'll go through and explain what happened like this fight. But like very quickly, I want to say that prepping a save file for this game took me over an hour and a half. Just as a backup, and it's not even a good one. So this is like god tier levels of RNG. I didn't even look at the stats, but this is gonna make this fight go so quickly. You have no idea.
Yeah, so as far as why there's a bunch of monsters in this mansion, for most case, just don't worry about it. There's just some bad stuff going on. Koudelka's here because she has like psychic abilities and can like talk to the dead or like be contacted by the dead.
She was called here by one of the ghosts, apparently,
Yeah.
which we'll talk a bit more about them. But
yeah, as far as the rest, we're not going to see any of that. So like, don't worry too much about it.
Yeah, we skip like all of the cuts. We skip all of the cutscenes in this game.
Yeah,
which is a bit unfortunate.
Spookies. But the cutscenes are very good. This game does have full voice acting, as well as really good FMVs. So, yeah.
I'm a little disappointed we don't get to see any of that, but we want to go fast, so we're going fast. Watching all of those adds about an hour onto the estimate, if that was the case. Obviously, it's already a sin enough that I'm playing this game and I went through reset hell up until this point. So anyways, we picked up our boy, James. He's our 3rd party member. I know, we're less than like 5 minutes, or we're about 5 minutes into the run, and we already have 2 party members, killed the first boss at level 1, and we're on our way to the second boss at level 2 to go kill that boss. It's gonna be a bit of a trend, to be honest. Like,
a very unusual RPG. Yeah, so this was my Saknoth, and this actually has a really interesting development history. Basically, that ended with the director, writer, producer, and composer of the game actually leaving the company after it was done because he disagreed with how the combat turned out. So yeah, it's a bunch of Square alumni, and yeah, they decided to do something interesting. Did you mean to run away from that one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a bad habit of running away from stuff, so Kath's gonna be my better half and hopefully, you know, remind me that that's not bueno, because we do in fact want some random normal fights.
Yep, there's only a few sections that we grind in this run, and the first one I believe is coming up right now. Oh, it is Shadowheart.
Yeah, it's a prequel. This is the prequel to Shadowhearts, believe it or not.
Yep, Koudelka's actually in Shadowhearts.
Yep. This is the prequel to the entire series. Our first grind session actually isn't until the start of Disc 2. So we got it at like another 20-ish minutes before we get there.
Thought we had to get James to level 2 to catch up.
Yeah, I wouldn't call that grind, but I understood what you meant
that's
by
fair.
it. It's just 2 levels, 2 battles. Another cutscene coming up here where we're gonna get shot at. But I mean, we got an encounter before it, so that's fine. All right, so ideally we want 2 battles to be around here, between 2 to 3 enemies on each of them. Reason for that is it allows us to gain an appropriate amount of XP for James, who is then going to level up, so he's level 2 with everybody else, because right now he's level 1.
Yeah, this is very important because he's the best character in the game. So if he's low level, it's going to be a bad time for us. Since he's going to carry this game.
Are we talking up James? We know what happens if this happens.
Listen, James is fantastic. Best character in this entire game. Does so much damage.
Personally, I feel like someone's looking at a different game here. Because,
I don't know what you mean.
Koudelka is obviously the best character.
Fine, James is the second best character.
Edward is the second best character.
But yeah, so we're gonna grind James up to level 4, so he's not
2.
Sorry, 2. I was reading the agility, which we're gonna be increasing by 4.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're getting him up to level 2. And it's very important to make sure that we control the amount of experience that's being gained, as if you mess that up, it kind of ruins some routing later on. So we want to be very careful to make sure that we don't run away from any encounters with 2 or 3 enemies, as well as make sure that we don't overlevel as well.
I mean, overleveling just costs us time, not a big deal. I'm okay with overleveling, but I don't want my XP routing to be all, like, shot.
James is actually Vertile. You don't have to say it, but yeah. That's how it's connected to the Draconeer series.
Oh, Lord, we're not doing that. No, I'm finally not doing a Draconeer game. Please don't try to connect it to it.
We have to bring it back together. The company got bought out, yep.
So this this is gonna be the last fight we need to get James to level 2, which is good.
Yep, so we also see some armor there, and if we're lucky, this guy will actually drop some armor for Koudelka, which will help reduce the grind a little bit later on. So we're gonna fingers crossed that the godlike RNG actually continues from the weapon drop.
I mean, I don't care if it gives me armor here. I care about when I actually need it. This armor is not going to do a whole lot for me if I get the drop from it. Disc 2 gear? Chef's kiss. Should kill. Thank you. So, during fights that I want to be doing, like, I just have to try really, really hard not to hit triangle to open the escape menu. But ideally, the quickest way to get through turns is... Wow, we actually got the armor drop. I mean, a game's apparently being kind to us right now. What is this RNG? Did someone hack my game or something? Because, like, this was not happening earlier today, I guarantee it.
This is the secret marathon build, actually.
What is this RNG so far?
It's forgiving you.
Forgiving me. Alright, well, we're at another boss already. I hope you guys didn't blink.
Yeah, so this is the trio. Basically, as you can see on the screen, each of them is a different color. And if you're familiar with JRPGs or RPGs in general, you know what that usually means. And that means that they each have a specific element. This is why having 2 separate elemental weapons actually really comes in handy, as each one is both weak and resistant to a specific element. The red one is resists fire, but is weak to water and has the most HP. The blue one is weak to fire, but resists water, and then the green one is weak to earth, but resists air.
Yep.
So yeah. Basically, we're gonna be debuffing the red guy with vitality down. My name's Kath, and I know it says that there's no other comms here, but I'm just vibing.
Yeah, Cass here with me. She put some hours in and learned quite a bit about this game, surprisingly.
I don't do things by halves. If I say I'm gonna learn something, I'm gonna learn something.
You're already
Usually
you're already like 75% of the way there to the speedrun. Or at least making your casual experience very enjoyable, unlike my first two.
Usually I speedrun Drakengard games. I'm actually speedrunning Drakengard cutscene percent later on the week for this marathon, so I'm just here to vibe and enjoy some Koudelka jams.
Yeah. So unfortunately I got silenced on Koudelka, so I can't get the other debuff in. Which is meh.
Yeah,
And we're trying to get these guys in the back row, because what's going on in this fight is we're on basically like what you consider a chessboard. If you were paying attention to the formation screen, you would have saw all the pieces represented by, all our parties and all our members in the party represented by chess pieces. And essentially, while we're on this chessboard, we move around and we take turns, just like a typical turn-based or tactical RPG. But, like, we cannot advance past them, and they can't advance past us, as long as our characters remain alive on the front line. So in order for them to reach Koudelka in the back with melee, they need to get through Edward and James. And obviously, we're not going to allow that to happen. So we need to move up here because we got knocked back. Now they're both on the same row, so now that means I can have James come in here with the water pipe. Bob's your uncle down on this guy, and then he should go down on about one more hit. Alright, so the one thing we don't want them to do is heal. That'd be not good. If they heal, they'll heal about 130 health.
Yep, so as good as RNG has been, it did not give us a panacea, which would cure status ailments. But I guess we can't ask for too much because it's really been nice. But that would have been ideal to unsilence Koudelka.
I mean, we'll hope we don't run into that issue later, but you know, you never know. We could get some panacea during our grind a little bit later, but we just don't have any for the first few fights. Okay, so this guy healed. That's unfortunate.
Still a bit ahead on time, just because we didn't have to reset at all, though. So.
Oh yeah, like we're already like doing really good. In fact, like if the RNG and we keep up pace, even if the RNG kind of messes with us, we'll be still really good. Because like we have like 20 to 30 minutes worth of leeway on the estimate. We can save that trolling with the RNG for like the later parts of the run. Alright, so one more left to kill. It's just it's this fight might be going pretty easy, you might be thinking, but this is only the second boss and it's technically 3 bosses. So this fight is not easy casually, especially with the fact that we're at level 2. The fact that we have a very particular setup and formation is what makes this fight a lot easier to deal with.
Yeah, this game really wants to make sure you're paying attention. When you're playing casually, especially if you don't have like the instruction booklets or anything, you can end up like whacking the wrong elemental trio with like the same element and like healing them or doing like 0 damage. So it's like basically if you've played like Shin Megami Tensei, for instance, I think there's actually a Nocturne run later. Like it's basically the one that like teaches you like this like the werewolf was like baby time. Like this is where the game actually starts getting kind of difficult.
Yeah,
And it
werewolf
is only the third
is
boss.
werewolf is really easy because like that fight. I mean, a lot of the boss fights are very scripted in a sense in how they will respond to you if you're doing things in a particular way. But like, bosses in this game aren't easy, and it honestly will entirely depend on your approach to them.
Yep, especially with all of the accessories, and I think even armor and weapons having randomly rolled stats and elements,
Yeah.
it can make things a lot more difficult. So every playthrough is a little different, and you need to know how to respond to it. At least up to a point, because once you get like certain magic and a specific weapon for Edward, it becomes a lot more static and like scripted. But until then, it's a little bit difficult.
Yeah, we're playing the ultimate RNG randomizer within a game itself, already pre-built for us. That is, what kind of properties we're gonna see on weapons, what kind of weapons and armor and accessories are we gonna see, what kind of stats are they gonna see? Like, I have no idea. Every time you boot up and you go, like, you have no idea what you're gonna get. So this is the third boss. This is essentially the Mummy Bride. I know she's listed as Ghost Raiden in the notes that Kath has, but she definitely looks like a mummy.
Yeah, it's a very spooky game. Like, we're just getting ready for Halloween with this game, you know, getting into the vibes. It's almost fall, we're almost free of summer. We gotta get spooky.
Yeah. So this boss, I mean, we glossed over it, but this boss was weak to wind. I casted 2 tornado spells. She has about 1200 HP. Backed on her a few times with Edward and James. And obviously she's dead. She didn't get to silence me in that fight, which is a thing that usually happens. If that had happened, then we'd be looking at... Oops, I almost put the wrong stat point there.
We're to give her agility.
Yeah, somehow I am... I almost screwed that up. There we go.
Everyone gets agility. You gave him.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened with James, but he leveled up early, so I mean, he's just not gonna get his. I don't know what's going on with James. He's just leveling up whenever the hell he feels like. Apparently,
he wants to become useful, and you know what? I respect the hustle.
He means
basically, we want Koudelka to get to 20 plus agility before this next boss, which I also believe is the last boss before Disc 1 is actually over. As if she's not at 20 plus agility, she might get owned pretty quickly. So we are going to, since she's at 20 plus agility, she's going to go before the lovely doppelganger Edward. We're actually at the doppelganger boss right now.
Yeah, we'll be at them in just a second. I gotta climb down this broken staircase that Edward almost fell off of so he can get into that fight. We skipped a cutscene with the first cutscene you'd see of Charlotte, who's a ghost here. Who obviously really doesn't like us by the looks of it. So we're picking up key items. We've already picked up a couple, but we're picking up lots of key items. And now we're already in that last fight of Disc 1. Did I mention this game is 4 discs long?
Yep, Disc 1 really is that short. Basically, because we're speedrunning it, we're basically only doing the bosses, except for 2 points in the game. So the discs are going to be pretty short. But yeah, the doppelganger bosses are pretty hard if you don't have your agility at a certain level, so you can't manage them right off the bat. Just because doppelganger Edward is very fast. And packs a punch, so we just need to be really careful about that. By making their agility, by making Koudelka's agility higher, we are allowing ourselves to start casting before he can whop on us.
Yeah, all of these enemy, like, all 3 of these mini-bosses inside of this giant boss fight are very strong in comparison to us right now, and they know, like, level 2 magic. if they cast, if the James and the Koudelka doppelgangers cast magic on either Edward or James that we have, then they're gonna just straight up die. Koudelka is the only one that can deal with taking magic damage and live. And if she takes physical damage, she will just die. So we have to play this like nice game of keep everybody away and in their own corners, because if I make a mistake in some of these fights, it could go badly. But a lot of the later fights, you have a bit more leeway with mistakes. It's just the first disc and second disc where you don't have that much freedom.
Yeah, so the reason this game is 4 discs, despite being fairly short, is because everything is fully voice acted, including the gameplay and the cutscenes.
Yeah, there's
yes,
CGI
if you guys
cutscenes.
2 Boomer
Yeah.
for MASH, that'd be great.
There's CG cutscenes and just like in-game rendered cutscenes that are fully voiced. So there's like over an hour worth of dialogue in this game that you can go through casually, which is a great experience. I have no idea what the hell I just casted by accident. That's fine though. So their James is dead, so like one of the biggest threats of this fight is gone. James is... Yep, James is doing James. Okay, alright James, good job.
She did that whopping 29 damage.
Man,
Incredible. Thanks, James.
This is why I don't like James. Like, you got James damage, and then you got Koudelka's damage. You're like,
Oh, that's 29 versus, I think, 285.
485?
485?
400 something damage from Koudelka right now, yeah.
James is helping.
Triple digits versus double digits. What's better? So I just got knocked back there. So, yeah, so on top of it being on like a chess-based grid, if for a lot of the times too, you'll end up getting knocked back, and what that does, that puts you back a square. Now, if I had characters lined up behind me, which we'll be doing a bit later, they don't get pushed back. Instead, they would get pushed back into that other character and then just stop instead, which is why we'll be switching our formation soon to prevent that issue from happening, because we're going to keep Edward in front of everybody for basically the whole game. And we want him to be the thickest of boys. So yeah, yep. James would have leveled up here and got his vitality, but James wanted to be special and level up earlier. So he got his vitality now, or like in the previous fight. And that's fine. It's something that I have to be aware of and remember, because when it comes to leveling right now, at least until I get out of Disc 2, I have to be doing it properly. So, now we skip the cutscene, we're going to go right into another cutscene, and then it's going to ask me to swap to Disc 2. I am playing on hardware, by the way. I am the only person who's speedrunning this game that I'm aware of that's doing this on hardware. So I manually disc swap, like a bro. Alright, that was a very, very fast disc swap for Disc 2. So we're doing pretty good. We're already on Disc 2. We'll hopefully be done Disc 2 a little over by the time we get to about an hour. Oh no, upside down gunman. Okay, so expect him to immediately shoot and kill Koudelka. That's just how this is gonna go. I know exactly how this goes. Wow, she actually lived. Oh, it's that armor! I forgot we have armor! That's why she didn't die! I forgot!
This is on PS2. MASH is playing on PS2. Also, thank you for adding me, Rod. No longer a ghost, I now exist.
Thanks, Rod. Yeah, I'm using PS2 hardware to play the game, but this is a PS1 disc. Oh yeah, we have to do that randomly for some reason, pick up those garbage items, then we can activate the new cutscene. And we're in the first boss of Disc 2.
Yeah, so just to go into the way that the party works, Edward is basically our tank, Koudelka is our glass cannon, and James is James. And that basically sums it up. So Koudelka's gonna be doing like a ton of damage by the end of the game. Edward's basically just there to face tank and shoot things, and James is there to buff everyone else so that Koudelka does more damage. And if he's useful, that's great, but it usually does not happen.
At least not till like very late game.
Yeah, pretty much. Would you consider the load slow? I'm not 100% sure. It is a PS1 game with a lot of cutscenes and dialogue, so I would imagine that it does have some pretty slow loads.
The loads can be a little slow here and there, but I mean, for the most part, I mean, I don't consider them that slow. I am using like a 7K model too, so like my loads aren't that bad when it comes to doing runs off hardware.
Yeah, it could be worse though, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's slow like compared to like especially like more modern games, which you probably saw earlier in the marathon. But it is a very beefy, if short, PS1 game. It could be, yeah, it could be my PS2. My PS2 is... I'm being bullied in chat. Hey, mods.
Being bullied in chat.
Somebody ban Rod for bullying my PS2.
Rod doesn't bully. Crap, I picked up the gun. I mean, gosh, darn it. I don't want that gun. I know I got a cool-ass new rifle, but we don't want that.
Yeah, can you time out yourself? Thanks, Rod.
We picked up Koudelka's final weapon of the game. You're probably going like, what? Like, what do you mean final weapon of the game? I'm telling you, it's the final weapon in the game, and we just picked it up for her. I'm going ahead and yeeting that rifle out of my inventory, because we don't want it. And the reason for that is, we have a very tight inventory size that we need to manage throughout the run. But yeah, no, we got the final weapon of Koudelka.
Can't the inventory actually overflow in this game? Or something similar?
Yeah, we can have inventory overflow, and I do not want that to happen.
So yeah, we have...
Yeah.
I think we have one more boss, and then the grinding bit.
Yeah.
From what I think.
Yeah, we gotta go through another boss, then we're gonna be on our way to the grind session for... short little bit, like very, very short. And it's only because we want accessories and potentially better armor at this point.
Yeah,
because
combat...
that's...
Oh, go ahead, sorry.
I said, like...
Yeah,
that grind now will save us from grinding later. That's the only reason why. But anyways, next boss, so you can talk.
Oh yeah, sorry, no, I was just gonna respond. The slow part is the combat. Yes, whenever an animation happens, it does unload and reload all the models for some reason. Not 100% sure why. I can only imagine that it was like trying to like save space or something. But yeah. This is the boss right before the grind. Its name is Madfly or Madone, I believe is the name of it.
Either of those names work.
The enemies in this game are more disturbing than most of the bona fide horror franchises. There's a really freaky cutscene near the end of the game of one of the final bosses, which unfortunately we're not going to be watching. Yeah, this game has a lot of really freaky stuff in it, and it only gets worse going from here.
We'll see what we're at time-wise, because I'm running a timer myself, and then if we have time, we'll watch those ones.
Yeah, we'll
because they're short. Because they're out of all of the cutscenes, they're the shortest. But I don't want to be impacting a potential decent run finish at this point.
Where exactly did they get the name? They're in the credits. So basically all of the enemy names, like especially the voice-acted ones, are in the credits, and I'm assuming the game manual.
There's a bestiary in this game as well, which we never look at.
Yeah.
So that they're available in there. And depending on which version of this game you're playing, between PAL, Japanese, or the North American release, some of the enemies might have slightly different names.
Yeah, there's a thief character, which I believe we've met, but not really because we're not watching the cutscenes, whose name is never mentioned in-game, but he does have a name in the credits, which is how we know who he is.
Alright, so for this fight, this boss actually has a lot of HP, which is annoying. Because we went off of bosses that only had like 1,000 or so HP. This boss almost has 3,000. So that's a bit scary. On top of that, it can deal like 600 plus damage very quickly to Edward. So we gotta watch his HP a little bit here. We need one more spell cast here with Koudelka, and then the boss will be dead. I already forget what number boss this is. I think it's like six boss maybe.
Let's see. Let me count.
I did the counting before, and I already forgot.
This is 6. Yeah, you were right.
There's a lot of bosses, and we go through them pretty quickly. It's super easy to lose track because you don't expect yourself to be going through an RPG like this, and they're just immediately gunning down all the bosses. Alright, so boss is dead. It was getting a little scary there for Edward, but he's all good. We're gonna level up, we're gonna get a full heal and everything, so it's all good.
Yep, so we have a bit of a grinding session coming up actually right after this, and we need to get everybody to 800 plus hit points. This game does have random encounters, and we're actually about to deal with them right now. But yeah, we want every character to be at 800 hit points. As you can see, Koudelka's actually at 670, and that's because we got armor early.
Yeah, that's very helpful. I mean,
yeah,
even
so
even if we get trolled coming up with the grind, like, that makes me a bit more comfortable now.
Yeah, the first run I actually commentated for MASH, Koudelka was at 200 hit points at this point because no armor had dropped. But yeah, so we're going to be grinding. The interesting part about this game is that random encounters are actually set by room. So there's always a specific set of enemy encounters that you can see, and they never really vary from that. So in this grinding area we're going to go to, there are 4 different encounter types that can spawn, and I guess we'll talk about them a little bit more when we get to them.
Yeah, we have a couple things to get through, but yeah, for the most part, like, it's just we gotta get there. It's not too far away. We got a pretty cool cutscene right here that we skip, unfortunately. James, like, kind of geeks out on, like, all these antiques in this estate that we're in. Everybody's here for their own reasons, but, like, yeah, James really just geeks out on these antiques of, like, historical value, and kind of mocks Koudelka and Edward on their lack of knowledge on cool artifacts and stuff. But we, like, kind of tell him, yo, bro, whatever, man. Let's move or you die.
Yeah, James is also a priest, so he's not super down with Koudelka being able to talk to, like, spirits and everything. He's actually, like, really not into that.
Yeah, he's not okay with that right now.
But yeah, we actually just did get a random encounter a little bit ago, but you'll notice that we ran away from it. Sorry, yes, he's a bishop. My bad. But we ran away from it because those random encounters can't really drop what we're looking for. So the room that we're going to, I believe 3 out of 4 of them can drop what we're looking for, which is accessories and armor. The Bishop James, aka the best character in this game. Smile.
He's in fact marked by a bishop on the chessboard pieces in formation screen, and the rook is marked by is Edward. So I find it really fitting that we're playing these characters as they are depicted on the chessboard pieces. Koudelka being the queen, aka Glass Cannon. Yeah, so we're in the middle of one of the desired random encounters in the room that Kath described. We have a very particular way to go through this fight, and I kind of scuffed it a little bit, so we're just gonna fix it. I should have killed the weird-looking boy first instead of the armor, but that's fine. We can fix that now.
And then while we're grinding, just as a reminder, this marathon is raising money for able gamers, so if you're able to donate, there's some really cool incentives up, so you should go ahead and stop by and check that out. Just while we're in the middle of our grind.
Yeah. Also, I want to know what the total is right now, because if...
It is 425, so it's almost
425?
met our goal day one.
That is really, really amazing. Anyways, 425. Let's say we get this to 525, and then I won't kill a cat in this run if it shows up.
Yeah, so if we get $100 more, we won't kill a cat.
Because if that cat shows up, I'm sorry, it's gonna have to die for RNG and potential time saves. I know Alice is probably really upset about me saying that.
Alice said no.
I'm sorry, like, y'all want the cat to live if it shows up. I mean, there's like 4 possibilities for me to potentially run into it.
Is that extortion for charity? It's extortion for a good cause.
We get to save a cat, and we get to help and then we get to support a good cause. It's 2 birds with 1 stone. And you get to make the run slower. What more do you want?
But yeah, so I believe we're in the grinding room now, or do we still have a little bit more and we're just getting lucky with the encounters?
No, this is the grind room. We got 2 of the main key items we need, though, to progress. But we need to remember to grab, which we already have. The worst thing that we could have happen is we forget to pick up the oodles of key items that we need to pick up, and I mean there is a lot. And then we have to do a lot of backtracking, because most people have already recognized that there's sort of like a Resident Evil, like 1-2 kind of vibe with the camera angle. And that affects my movement as well, because this game kind of used, I would say, light tank control movement, in the sense that if the camera angle changes, it really does mess with the D-pad movement. Holding forward does not always make you go forward, so at this point it's, like, the point I'm at now with the game is, like, I kind of have a general idea of, like, which directions to be holding going into screens, just based on looking at the layout of the room. So we've done 2 fights so far. We're going to be grinding this room for about, like, 3 or 4 more encounters. We do 5 or 6 usually, and this is so that we can get a better armor drop, so that Koudelka usually doesn't die going forward from here. And also, we're hoping for some accessory drops to boost our damage with Koudelka. And getting either of these right now would be very beneficial to the run, because it will help us go zoom zoom.
But is it the half bodies that drop the accessories? Like, the armor drop the armor. Is it the half bodies that drop the accessories?
Well,
or is it the other 2?
So any combination of both the half body and the headless plus the armor can actually drop either the armor or the accessories.
Yeah, so ideally we want...
Yeah, ideally we want those 2 sets. Half bodies I have a bit more luck with, accessory-wise. And there's, like, a pretty large list of types of accessories that we could get, on top of the random rolls and stuff they could get. We're hoping for something, like, mid to high tier for a drop. And wow, these guys... I always forget how hard these guys hit this early.
I believe they're called half bodies because they're missing their head. I think their arms as well.
They only have the torso down.
Yeah.
So that's why we call them half bodies.
Yeah, more like 3/4 body.
3/4, sure. We'll go with that.
If you want the cat to live, y'all should donate to a good cause. Thank you for the donation.
Yeah, or you want to save the poor
Cat
kitties.
must live. Thank you, Alice, for the $30.
Cat's gonna live. Potentially. Anyways, so we're leveling up James. He's got enough HP. I'm gonna try to hopefully get damage. We got an accessory drop. We got a badge, so that's actually really good. Badge is like mid-ish tier. Like
Yeah,
it's okay.
It's not the worst we can get, but considering how good the RNG has been on this run,
I'll take it.
It's really good.
I'm not gonna complain. I'll take it. I can't ask for anything better. So this is the 4th encounter. We're hoping for an armor. If not, then we have to dump a little bit of vitality into Koudelka, which means she's gonna lack a little bit of damage. I'm actually just gonna straight up run from this fight because it's not worth the time it takes for the XP. I know we can fight it for decent XP, but it's no point, honestly. I rather just try to get into 2 actual fights that we want to do instead of wasting like a minute or 2 trying to get through that fight there.
Oh, y'all really want this cat to live. $20 from Kelladorn. Save the cats.
Yep, save the cats.
Save the cats, everyone.
Yeah, so there is an incredibly rare encounter that we could get multiple points throughout the run, where a black cat would appear on the screen. And this said black cat will run away into the corner and just do that. It will not do anything else. It will just run away into the corner of the screen. And killing the cat has the potential to drop one of the best weapons in the game, which is called the Cat's Eye, which has extremely good agility on it. Agility? And intelligence boost on it for magic casters. So it's a very powerful item. Very, very rare as well.
Makes James kind of useful, actually.
Oh, it does. If he can get it, James gets very useful. But the odds that the cat drops it, very, very slim.
Oh my god, thanks again, Alice. The cat must live in Rod's place, another 25. We are close. I believe it's $20 more. And also, we have raised $520 on day 1. Thank you guys so much. It's all going to a great cause, so every donation matters.
Indeed. Just so we're aware of where we are progress-wise in the game, we're almost done Disc 2. We're very close. We're like halfway through Disc 2 at least right now. And we still got 3 more bosses to go through?
Yes, we have... Yep, 3 more. The cats also do give a lot of XP.
Oh my god.
Not sure why. It like literally just will run away to the corner and drop a really good... What did we need to donate? Was it 525?
Yeah, we want to get over 525. Also,
if we get over 525, the cat lives.
I got an armor drop, so now I feel really bad about leveling vitality there. Thanks, game.
Oh, $5 left. $5 left to save the kitty.
Uh-oh. What is going on, Capture?
Oh no.
My Capture, like...
Cut out
why is my PS2, like, doing this in the middle of marathon runs? Like, I don't understand.
It's okay. Mine does the same thing. It can sense when you're in the middle of something important.
Like, I don't understand why it's doing that. I have to reset my feed here, because it's like, now it's desynced, and I know it is.
It's to punish you for the good RNG.
Yeah, totally. Because we're ahead of time, it's like, yeah, we're gonna punish you. I mean, this thing happened in my Dodd 2 run before, too. Alright, so anyways, we got through that. We've done some equipping. We're gonna go ahead and chuck some really bad weapons that we picked up. By bad, I mean just random weapons. And then I'm going to go ahead and equip Edward now while we're in the screen to save a bit of time. He's gonna put on the bow gun, and we're gonna go into one more fight. and then we're gonna leave, because this will be the 5th fight that we do in here. We have an accessory, we have an armor. I don't want to push my luck, but we'll just do one more fight and then continue on.
Yep, and I believe we
everything
are
we need.
coming up to one of the first rooms where the cat can actually show up. So if we get $5 more of donations, cat will live if we see it. Not the cat's gotta die. That's how it is.
Yeah, we can run
Oh, we
into
got
like
$5 more.
we got. And make sure you're donating as well along with that to actual incentives, because there's a lot of really cool runs with incentives throughout here and milestones that we want to hit.
Thank you to the, you can donate here in chat. I have posted the link again. We actually met the goal, $5 from an anonymous donor. Thank you so much. We are now at $525 on day 1.
Alright, so we're done with our grind. That fight wasn't really good, but that's fine. Next boss is actually right here, like on the other side of the door.
No kitties will die today if we see them, so thank you. Oh, 545 now, holy moly. Oh dear God, donated $20. Toy boat, 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 toy boat. Let the kitty live, Heart. Thank you so much.
Thanks for saving the cats. Alice is probably extremely happy. Me, on the other hand, won't be very happy. That's fine. Alright, so... yeah, this boss is weak to wind.
Thank you for reading. You're welcome.
And, this is the evil tree. So, ideally, we're just going to pass the turn, let Koudelka deal with this boss. If our damage is up to snuff, this boss should die in about 2 casts. It has a little under 3,000 HP, sorry. And the one thing that we don't want to have happen is silence on Koudelka. And guess what we got? Silence on Koudelka. It's a good thing I have exactly 1 status heal. Thanks,
we're gonna pray that that doesn't happen again.
Ugh. My only panacea, and we have to use it now, feels bad. Alright, anyways, so now Koudelka will get her turn. And then we can kill the boss with Tornado, hopefully. I didn't mean to attack. Oops. That's fine. That's fine. Boss is definitely gonna die after this, I guess, now.
You can see James is helping. Thanks, James.
No, James is just looking pretty.
Yeah, he's looking cute, so...
Alright, so... that's boss number 7? Then we're coming up on boss number 8?
Yes, I believe so. And this is actually the boss where we needed the 800 hit points for coming up. And if we were watching the story, we would have seen this thief. I believe he tries to kill us a couple times, actually.
Yeah, he's tried to kill us a total of 2 times already.
Yep, he wants the treasures in the monastery. So we're gonna go beat him up now.
Yeah, I'm gonna
this is boss rush. Boss rush the game.
Yeah, this is boss rush the game for sure. So I'm just quickly reloading Edward there because I accidentally fired the bowgun and I need him loaded for this next boss. Alright, so walking into this room after the previous boss gives us a cutscene where this next boss tries to drop a giant chandelier on us to kill us. Obviously, we're not dumb enough to get killed by that, so not yet anyways. And we're gonna grab that arm from the statue that he busted. That arm won't be used till the very end of the game. And then we're gonna climb the staircase to go and fight the boss. Of course, I mean, we can still get random encounters along the way. Oh no, there's the cat!
Hey, they donated. They donated.
I know. I'm running away.
Save the kitty.
I'm running away. I'm running away. You get to live. Oh, that hurts so much. That hurts
The
so
RNG
much.
is really... The RNG is really blessing you this run. And it's a shame we couldn't kill that cat.
I wish the
But hey, a promise is a promise.
I wish the practice and warm-up went as smoothly.
Kitty has been saved.
Yep. Save the cat. Congratulations, everybody.
Thank you all again for your donations. We have saved a kitty today. Cat percent.
Potentially more. We don't know how many more cats we're gonna run into. But you spared a kitty so far.
Yeah, you spared a kitty so far. Donate more to save more. Just kidding. We're gonna keep the promise.
Yeah. We'll just keep the promise. I mean, it's... Like, running into one cat is pretty common for us, but, like, running into more than that, not too
That would
much.
surely be an RNG blessed run.
Yeah.
So this boss is actually pretty cool. I like that like it has barricades and the boss will actually run behind them to protect himself, especially because I believe they count as enemies, so you can't run behind them.
Correct.
So this is Alias, or Elias, depending on the version. Like, as mentioned before, he's the thief that's been trying to kill you. He wants these treasures, and he's basically shacked up behind these barricades. So the first order of business is we have to destroy the barricades.
Yep.
Alias is also immune to magic, which means that we can't just nuke him from behind. We have to actually go up and whack him or shoot him with Edward's bowgun.
Yeah, we're gonna stand here, look pretty, and then shoot him with the bowgun, because it's just much quicker. So, when he opened up, you would have saw him shoot immediately at Koudelka a whole bunch of times and deal, like, absurd amounts of damage. That is exactly why we want the armor for this fight. Because she would have just insta-died at the start.
Yep. So, Alias actually attacks in a defined pattern, so he'll always start with Koudelka, which is why we need everybody at 800 plus HP. Then he'll go to Edward, then James, and then Koudelka, and so on and so forth. Which means that unlike other bosses, which will like really only attack Edward because he's up front, we need to make sure that everybody is up to stuff.
I'm counting right now. I know I said 1, but that was because I need to make sure that I hit 4 hits on this boss to kill him. So that was more of a reminder to myself that that was 1 hit so far. So we're busting through turns to get to Edward with the crossbow, because it deals the most damage to him. That's 2. And on the 4th hit, as long as each hit deals about 500 damage each, he will die, because he has just over 2,000.
Yep, he has 2,025 hit points.
And ideally, we want to kill him before he gets to another pass of Koudelka.
We actually, so the cool thing about this game also is that, unlike, you know, most JRPGs have things like Phoenix Downs or like beads that resurrect people. In this game, you use whiskey. Yeah.
We have alcohol.
You just basically pour whiskey all over your dead team member and they come back to life. Not 100% sure how that works, but we don't question it, really.
I mean, what's better than a good old hard glass of whiskey?
Yeah, there is a point later in the game with a pretty heavy drinking scene as well, so like the alcohol is kind of just a running theme throughout this game.
Our characters are very unhappy about their life decisions. They drink a lot. Alright, that was 4, so Alias goes down. There's a cutscene after in which, I mean, Edward's gonna do some pretty horrible things to him for trying to kill them. To put it bluntly, he's just gonna shoot him.
Yep.
Alright, so we do some leveling.
The drinking scene is very good.
It is really good.
I wish we were watching it. The voice acting in it is fantastic.
Unfortunately, it's like 15 minutes long. I'm not even joking. It's like 10 to 15 minutes.
It's a really long scene.
It's a really, really long cutscene at the end of the game to do.
Can the cat join in on the drinking? We don't know how old the cat is, so probably.
And I mean, if for some reason Zell really cared about watching the cool voice dialogue cutscenes in this game, we would have been watching them. But that's fine. I mean, there's a lot of really cool runs, and I can understand scheduling a lot of stuff like this is difficult. So anyways, we talk to Alias. He gives us a key, which allows us to... oh my god, Koudelka, up the box. Thank you. Allows us to backtrack a bit to get more key items. I'm not joking, like 80% of our inventory is going to be filled with key items, which is why we need all the space possible. You might remember this place, we were here earlier. We're heading back down to where we met the caretakers of the estate that we skipped a cutscene on. Touching back to that, because we didn't touch back on it at all, because we were explaining how ridiculous the RNG and stuff in this game is. The caretakers tried to poison us with potato soup. Edward was hungry, ate potato soup, got sick. Koudelka made him feel better, rubbed his tummy. I'm giving you a condensed version. Edward really still thinks that the caretakers are good people, and so does James. Because James, like, they walked James right in here and said, yo, help us out. And then he passed out to, like, some poisonous fumes or something. Which is why he was in that room with the plant boss. And we're going to go back here into this room. If Koudelka wants to open the door. And
Koudelka goes where she wants sometimes. Maybe they just use the Minecraft poison potato by mistake. Yeah, it might not have been on purpose, you know, we don't know. It could have just been bad potatoes. So
yeah, so anyways, we go back into this room. They're obviously not here. They're off doing something else. We pick up a badge out of that counter because it's a potential accessory if we didn't get one earlier. Instead, we'll do some accessory swapping. And then, you know, give James some early stat boost off of it as well. We pick up a doll in this room after using the key to get in here. We grabbed a... Wow, screen transitions. We picked up a dragon statue before we came in this room. Picked up the doll, picked up a mask. The doll and the statue are 2 additional key items. The mask is essentially a repel that never expires. But the way it works is it reduces the chance of running into encounters by half.
So depending on RNG, we might still see a lot of encounters.
Yeah. It just makes it a little bit harder for the encounters to show up very frequently.
Yeah, so I believe there's like 4 or 5 key items just in this one little section of the game before the final boss of Disc 2.
Yeah, we're picking up like 5 key items at this point that we need space for in our inventory before we get rid of a whole bunch of them.
Yeah, and you can pick these up later, but obviously that's slower, so this is very specifically routed to just get it all out of the way now so you don't have to like go back and forth. While you're playing casually, I mean, look at this background, like it is one of those old school games where you have to basically touch everything, pick stuff up, even if it seems completely random and out of the way. Like a goat statue, you have to just have that, you know? Like, we don't know why yet, but we need it.
Yeah, and I've missed the goat statue several times, casually and in practicing and learning this game in general. It can happen. Sometimes you just don't know what you're supposed to be interacting with. And, like, what are the odds that you know you have to backtrack to go get said items, right? Like, the game really wants the player to, like, learn and explore, so it doesn't really try to hold your hand at all. In fact, it just kind of lets you go. Yeah, so there's a goat statue right in behind this wall here that we couldn't pick up earlier, but now we can.
Yeah, like just so you know, it's just hanging out there now. But yeah, this game is has a very like old school adventure game type of vibe where like there is actually a specific item later on, and we'll talk about it. Where if you don't pick it up, you actually just get like you can't beat the final boss. Like the game just ends. It basically soft locks you into like an ending because you just forgot to pick up this item. And there's like a second chance to get the item by killing a cat. Spoilers, but since we promised we're not going to kill the cats, we have to be really careful to make sure we pick up that item.
I mean, I've never forgotten that part, thankfully, anymore, because boy, oh boy, is that ingrained in my memory.
Yeah, but we need to make sure that we pick it up this time, because no cat killing. Even if it's like we can't finish the game, we can't kill the cats. Not sure why the cat ends up with this item, and again, we'll talk about it when we get there, because it's like not till, I believe, the very last disc, actually, that we have to pick it up.
To be honest, I don't know either. I don't know the answer to that. I'm pretty sure it's just, it did a cat thing, it found something to play with, and that's why it ended up with it.
Murder it, yeah. The cat police is looking at you. We're not going to kill the cats, don't worry. We made a promise.
Yeah. We have saved the cats in this game. Anyways, now that we have all of that stuff, I wanted to double check that I picked up the music box, because if I don't have that, we in trouble. Music box. Okay, we're good. I have everything. Alright, so I have all the key items that I need at this point. We're not missing anything, thankfully. We just gotta get through some screen transitions. We're gonna go back up to where we killed the previous boss. And there's a door up there you might see in some of the camera angles on the right-hand side. So we're gonna go over there. And in this room, it's gonna require 2 pieces of information to solve this puzzle, which we now have. And even once you have this information, figuring out how this information translates to the puzzle took me a lot longer than you'd think. And I'm just gonna say it's because I'm not very smart when it comes to, like, figuring things out a lot of the time. Especially off of notes. I'm a doer, not a reader. So, anyways, we picked up more glass. That is the 3rd piece of glass out of 5 that we need since the start of the run.
I believe we have a boss coming up before the next puzzle, correct?
Yeah, and speaking of stuff that could help us later, this is good RNG as well. We have a boy here who potentially can drop a item that would help us kill a boss later and turn a 15-minute boss fight into, like, a 1-minute boss fight.
Yep. So we're gonna actually hope that drops it, because that's gonna save us a lot of grinding time later if we're unlucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, this next boss fight, James might actually get to help. Maybe. It depends. But he
We'll
might
see.
actually get to do something.
Yeah, we'll see how James does. We have to give him his brand new fancy staff-looking spear crazy thing. Fortunately, that guy didn't drop what I was hoping for, which is a bit sad. But we'll leave the explanation for it later now, I guess. But it was a potential time save worth taking, because it also just helps with annoying RNG later. We're grabbing some safety items along the way. Cutscene activates, I think, a really cool one. It shows some crazy stuff with the Illuminati and stuff. I mean, we could go on and have headcanon theories about, like, what this all means. I'll just have you know that like, let's just not go into conspirator territory here. We have a 4th piece of glass here. We have 3 statues at this point. So this opens up the door to our last boss of Disc 2. We're gonna go and equip James here now. We're gonna double check our gear, make sure that we have all the good items on Koudelka, and then James can have the hand-me-downs. We're gonna give him the Evil Horn, which is a magic weapon we picked up from one of the other bosses. And we're at the Chimera boss. Each of the statue pieces we picked up represents a head on the Chimera. I think it's just really cool, little vibey thing. But, yeah, Kath, you want to explain this boss?
Absolutely. So basically, this boss is the Chimera. It's really screwed up looking. It has spikes for legs. Has, I think, 3 heads that are all kind of weirdly attached to the body.
Yeah.
Has 4 boobs, it looks like, on this picture.
Yep.
I don't know if you can see in game.
Yep, you can see them. When it moves forward, you can see it.
So, you know, very, very sexy boss. But basically it's weak to water. So ideally we're just gonna have to cast Geyser, which is Koudelka's water spell, twice. And if that doesn't do it, James gets to help. And I believe in him. But yeah, this guy's just gonna walk up and whack it. Oh, actually, it did attack Koudelka. It looked like it knocked her back.
Yeah, it did knock her back. It's weird. Ranged attacks can have knockback as well, or ranged attacks in general. That's fine though. She's just poison. It's no biggie.
So the way that this game works, actually, the closer you are, the more damage you do. Which is why melee attacks are such like a hardcore damage dealer. And I'm not 100% sure if that's how it works for ranged attacks as well, or if that doesn't have the distance factored in.
I mean, I've done some experimenting with ranged. Ranged plays a little bit differently just because, like, you need dex and agility for it as well. You need line of sight as another thing. I think being further away from the target helps with damage for some reason with some of the ranged weapons, but I could be wrong because there is shotguns in this game. And I don't know how to explain how those work either. So we just don't use ranged weapons in the game because, well, they're slow, they don't really deal a lot of damage, and they require quite a bit of stats to use. Unfortunately.
Yeah, it's dead. Hooray!
Yeah, the monstrosity is dead.
With water.
Yeah, instead of burning things this time, we decided to switch it up and kill the boss with water.
Guess, yeah,
drown the boss. So we're pumping a lot of vitality into our boy Edward. Because we want at least 75 points into vitality before we get to the end of the game.
And we have one more puzzle, and then I believe we're actually done with Disc 2.
Yeah, we have some small minor backtracking to do to finish up a puzzle, which we got the music box for. And then we're done. But we don't have to, like, go anywhere crazy. We just have to do a little bit of backtracking around this area to get to the puzzle. So we're going to plug in the stone tablet we picked up when we were in the grinding room. It's going to activate this printing press, make a map that we'll never use. But the reason why we do that is so it opens this secret door behind this crumbling wall. Then we're going to go in this little side room, grab these bowgun arrows. We're going to grab another key item here, which is a disc. We're going to use this disc later. We're going to run through this outside area into the church, into apparently the left navel. I have no idea what that means. I'm not very versed with, like, building anatomy. But anyways, we're going to grab that relief piece, which is a key item which we'll be using immediately. Backtrack out of here. Back to the main floor of the library. And then we're going to climb on top of this clock that, I mean, most people probably would never expect they could climb on top of. But it had a box next to it, so maybe that was the indication, because, you know, that makes sense somehow.
Yeah, so who's excited to play this game casually with no walkthrough now?
Yeah, this game casually was very cool, very interesting, very long. It took me over 70 hours. I'm not even joking. And that's also including my soft lock time.
Obviously, if you have, like, a walkthrough or know, like, kind of about this game, it'll be, like, an 8 to 10 hour experience, but if you're just going through completely blind with, like, no expectation of what's in it, it will take you a while to get through.
Yep.
I mean, look at the sheer number of key items we've picked up.
That's so
and
many.
We're on disc 2.
So many. There's a
It's
reason...
because you killed the cat.
I didn't do that! This time.
This
Alright.
time, yeah.
Alright, we picked up our 5th piece of glass. We're gonna head back to where we picked up the relief piece, which activated this family tree portrait, which opened that secret door. And we skipped 2 brief cutscenes there with an introduction to a familiar character in the Shadowheart series. I'm a little sad that we're skipping that, but we'll see a cutscene at the end with the character. But he doesn't introduce himself until disc 3, so it's fine. We just get a really good spook moment that we get to avoid, so we get to keep our pacers in our chest. Anyways, so we plug in those 5 pieces of glass we've been picking up since the start of the game to fill in that stained glass mural. And then that unlocks this door here. I don't know exactly why. And that allows us access to the inner part of the church. We have 2 brief cutscenes to go through, and then we'll basically be done Disc 2. You have to activate these 2 cutscenes in this order. This next cutscene is really cool, but we're going to skip it. So what's going to happen is we're going to get into a boss, but we're finally not going to fight a boss. I know that sounds crazy. We've been trying to run from bosses so far the entirety of the game, and it hasn't worked up until now. Well, this boss is special. In fact, this is one of the very few optional bosses in the game. And we're just gonna run away. The game lets us run away. There's no way you can fail the escapes on this boss if you choose just to run away. We also only have 1 party member because in that cutscene that we skipped, when the monster shows up, Edward and James run like chickens back the way we came and leave Koudelka alone in there. So, I mean, even if we could fight that boss, it's not very good for Koudelka, obviously, being a glass cannon. And now we're on disc 3.
Yep. Only 2 more discs left.
Alright, I got some stuffs I have to do, and I guess, Kath, you can explain what we're doing in this courtyard now.
Yeah, so I mentioned earlier about an item that will literally like soft lock the game. We're actually going to go pick that up now. If you don't watch the cutscene, you'll have no idea that this item even exists. And I think it's at the very beginning, actually.
Yeah,
that,
the first cutscene in the game that we skip, that for some reason is supposed to tell you about that. Somehow.
Yeah, so it's like, hey, Koudelka has a pendant, and she drops it, and we're gonna go pick that up now. And if we don't have this pendant, then you can't actually fight the final boss. It will just kill you and give you like a non-standard game over, where it just prevents you from fighting the boss. And like mentioned before, if you don't pick it up during disc 3, I don't believe you can actually go back to get it, and the only way to pick it back up is to kill the cat, which will drop it in disc 4. So we're gonna make sure that we pick that bad boy up.
Yeah. But to get it, I have to use these icon pieces that we've been picking up from all the bosses we've been killing so far to turn off the fountain in which the pendant fell into, directly below where I was climbing on earlier on in the run.
Yeah, if you were wondering why I was like, why does the cat have it? It's because it's in the bottom of a fountain that we need to turn off. And as far as I know, cats hate water. At least if they're my cat, like they're like my cat. Maybe there are some cats that like enjoy swimming. So yeah, I'm kind of curious how the cat ends up with the pendant if we don't grab it. But yeah, so we're going to be picking up that pendant. We're going to be activating all these statues. There's a boss that we're going to be doing. I think it's just with Koudelka.
Yeah, Koudelka's solo boss, which can be pretty scary, honestly. Sometimes with not good stats or armor.
I believe we're actually in a pretty good place right now, though, with her.
No, I think we're fine.
Yeah. And then another thing after the boss, that we can do, only if you're playing the JP or PAL version, is that there is the ultimate weapon for Koudelka, which is called Daniel's Cross. It's not in the United States version for some reason, but it is her ultimate weapon if you're interested in playing the PAL or JP version, which I believe actually a lot of speedrunners do the PAL version just because of this, and a few other things.
Yeah, they also play EMU because they don't want to deal with the squapping, but I'm a true speedrunner. I love hardware. Anyways, don't mind that. We turn off the fountain, we access the inner part of the fountain area, and there's just like a huge torture chamber down here. No biggie. It's all...
Yeah, don't worry about it. It's fine.
Don't worry about any of the blood stains or anything like that. It's just red paint. We skipped the cutscene with the caretakers there, but it's a really good cutscene. I love it. It's one of my favorite ones. Anyways,
this is a reminder. I'm pretty sure people like lived here casually. You know, just for fun. It's just, you know, the chill torture chamber in the mansion / monastery, so
yeah.
Normal things. Just little whales things.
Normal day in Wales.
Yeah, normal day in Wales. You got your torture chamber, your undead monstrosities. Just little whale things. Whales things. So yeah.
So yeah, so we skip the cutscene with the caretakers. We find them again. The husband of the caretakers gives me a little bash on the head, straps me down to the table, starts grinding his axe, and starts gibbering about a whole bunch of like random stuff. Thinks we're a bloody lamp, wants to kill said bloody lamp, and then the wife comes along and shoots him, kills him, and then explains like exactly what happened and why shit's all messed up, and then does the deed and offs herself in the process because she couldn't deal with the rest of the situation. I mean, they get to live happily now. It's a bit sad, but I mean, honestly, I really love this game a lot. It has some vibes, like feel-good moments, and then other times it's got some, silly humor along the way. But the game starts really picking up in sort of like feel moments from this point forward. A lot of your like early parts of the game in Disc 1 and 2 are just kind of like humorous up until this point. Game takes a very interesting turn as far as story direction goes. But there's still some sprinkled humor along the way.
Secret torture chambers aren't common in homes. Do you live in Wales? Because I believe they are in Wales. But my apartment complex does not have a secret torture chamber, as far as I know. But maybe it's just that secret. So this boss is the giant.
Gug. Welcome to
Gug
Gug.
the giant. He has 4 arms. He's real beefy. He has a mouth for a head. And he's weak to wind.
Yep. We have armor, so I'm not scared of Gug. The only thing I'm scared of is accidentally attacking him with my melee weapon and it breaking. Because that would be bad.
Oh yeah, weapons can break in this game. It's like Fire Emblem. For some reason, you just break your weapons have ammo. Which I guess if you're like beating Gug to death with a mace, it would make sense. He looks pretty beefy. That your mace would break.
Yeah.
So we're basically just gonna keep spamming Tornado, unless we need to heal, which hopefully we won't have to.
I think we're good. Gug's down now.
Okay. Gug has 5,000 hit points. 5,040 hit points. Just as a comparison, in Disc 2, the Chimera had 4,096, and that was with a full party. So the game really does expect you to like be paying attention and be grinding up weapons and armor and accessories just to make sure that you're beefed out. But we're gonna ignore that. We're just gonna take advantage of his elemental weakness.
Yeah. Killing Gug nets you the shotgun, but we don't want the shotgun because firearms are bad. Especially in this in the speedrun route. And we're gonna head down the corridor on the left, and we're gonna head out of here because we're done with the smell of torture down here. Out into the fresh air. We're gonna come up to a section where we get another key item. It's another doll, which we need for a return visit to the start of the game, basically, and start of Disc 2. We have a interesting cutscene here where we meet a very familiar character in the Shadowheart series that I mentioned.
He's just vibing for now, though, so don't worry about it.
Yeah. So that cutscene is the introduction of Koudelka and Roger Bacon, for those that are aware of who that character is, and have played or seen the other Shadowhearts games.
And yes, he is the alchemist, the Bacon, so...
Yeah, he is the Roger Bacon, as he likes to describe himself. And he's been around for, I don't know, 600 years or something like that, apparently. Like,
he's just been chilling.
He's been vibing for a long time, apparently. We skipped a cutscene earlier in the library where we found him in a coffin. And he kind of pops out, says a bunch of shit, and then just falls back in the coffin. Everybody's, like, jaw drops, and I'm spooked. Like, casually, that spooked me. Like, I'm not even joking. I was, like... I almost fell off my seat first time, because I was not expecting it. Anyways, so we meet back up with Edwards and James in the library. Roger Bacon was kind enough to open the gate for us to get back over here. And we're going to do some backtracking now so that we can get to a new section of the estate. We have a random encounter with little wiggly boy here. I don't know what else to call him. He's just vibing out, so we're going to let him vibe. We're just going to run.
Yeah, he's just kind of hanging out. Also want you to leave though.
Yeah. Sometimes that just happens to be the case.
Yeah, we're just gonna be doing a little bit of walking, and then we have a couple bosses coming up.
Yeah, I like this section of the game from this point forward. Like, I really love Disc 3 and 4, because it's a bit way more relaxed than it was for Disc 1 and 2 in comparison. Because there's a lot less crucial things that could go wrong at this point. Because you don't have the RNG at the start of the run just to get a run going to deal with. And
Yeah, we
you
do
have like
one...
you don't get punished super hard for like messing up leveling or something.
Yeah, we do have one more make or break moment. Grind, and we're gonna hope it's actually not a grind. But apart from that, it's pretty smooth sailing from this point.
Yeah. Like I used to save pretty frequently, but I'm confident with my ability to play this game and having spent a long time playing this game on and off. Well, not on and off. I've been grinding this game pretty heavily actually. For I don't know, 2-3 months now at this point. When I picked it up and started playing it as a speedrun, after clearing it casually like half a dozen times. I mean, I went in this game not expecting it to be that bad RNG-wise. Learned the whole run, went through the game, and then realized afterwards when I start crunching my time down that, wow, there is a lot more RNG under the hood than you expect. That could go completely wrong when you're learning to speedrun this game. But, I mean, the nice thing about it is that you find ways to deal with it and understand the game a bit more. And, the game really does grow on you. I've grown an attachment to this game, weirdly enough. But, I guess when I'm passionate about learning and playing or speedrunning a game, I pretty much will continuously do that. But now that we're back at the start of Disc 2, the $2 we picked up, we're going to use them here on the 2 bodies here, which are 2 deceased girls, or twins, I guess, that passed away down here. They are restless spirits. They want their dolls that they were missing, and they trade us the green key, which we use to access the back area of the manor here, where it has an estate that this character Charlotte, who's the ghost that we saw earlier in the game, was residing. Obviously she doesn't want us around. She's tried to kill us a couple times already, but now she's gonna attack us with floating possessed IKEA furniture. And I'm just gonna focus, and then, because it's a back-to-back boss fight, and Kath can kind of explain what's going on now.
Yeah, so as you can see, we are now fighting some furniture. There's a chair and a table.
Okay.
Sorry, my notes just completely reset themselves. It's a chair and a wardrobe, not a table.
Yeah.
But yeah, so basically the chair is weak to water and the wardrobe is weak to earth. There is surprisingly not weak to fire, despite being furniture, which is obviously the first thing you would try if you were playing this casually without a guide, because, like, I mean, it's furniture, and most of the time if you have to fight floating furniture, it's usually weak to fire. But yeah, basically we're just going to keep spamming spells. So yeah, And then after this, we do have another boss fight with another character. And while we're fighting her, I'm going to talk a little bit more about her backstory. But yeah, right now we're just going to be fighting some furniture. And just as a reminder, you can donate to Able Gamers through the Donate Tiltify link. And if you donate, I'll read your message out while we fight furniture. Smile. You already saved a cat. Who knows what else we can do?
Yeah, we have a couple other points where we have like a little bit leeway with like discussing other things along the way, because like there is, like I said, this game does have quite a bit of backtracking, but there's also a lot to like unpack as an experience with this game if you don't understand a lot of the inner workings.
Yeah, there's also a lot of really interesting development history of this game that I am trying to save for the grind, but if we end up with another point, we can talk a little bit about that as well. But yeah, so this is Charlotte. Basically, in the game, you get to... There's a key item where there's letters from her mother that she wrote to Charlotte, basically her entire life. Charlotte was killed when she was age 9, but her mother was never told that she was killed. So she kept writing letters the entire time until she died. So I believe the last letter that you can read, she's writing to Charlotte as if Charlotte was age 12. Basically, if you pick up these letters, Charlotte doesn't really know how to take it, and she's only really existing because she's very angry and upset. But her spirit finally lets go, and you just basically beat her without even doing the boss fight. Because this is a speedrun, obviously we did not pick up those letters, so we are actually just gonna fight her as a boss, instead of doing that whole cutscene experience. But it is actually a very touching scene between her and Koudelka, and I highly recommend watching it if you're not planning on playing this game casually.
Yeah.
Which I do highly recommend. It's a very good story. Very worth watching at least a movie cut of this game, not just the FMV cutscenes. But because we did pick up those letters, we're fighting her. She is weak to water. I believe she was actually executed because her mother committed adultery and had an affair.
Yeah.
So yeah. Very sad story.
She doesn't know the details of it, so Charlotte earlier on when she was talking to us before we started this fight, was just telling us she just isn't loved. Like, no one ever loved her, and we're Koudelka was trying to convince her that, yeah, someone did love you. Like, there's no reason no one would love you. Obviously, she doesn't believe Koudelka because, I mean, she never got to see all those letters.
Yeah, the letters were purposely kept from her, but obviously she was a child when she died, so she's basically been alive for 300 years as a ghost, just based off of spite and rage from being what she feels is abandoned, and she just doesn't know how to take it once she realizes that her mother actually did love her. So it's a very, very sad character, very sad scene. But yeah, basically it ties in a lot with this game. There's a lot about love and how far you would go for a person.
Oh yeah.
And
well, I'll tell you what, you go very deep for loving for another person in this game. That's the whole reason why everything goes south of the Cincinnati River.
Yeah. So yeah. We're gonna be, I believe we're equipping Koudelka with the items she drops.
Koudelka's got better gear, actually. So we just gave it to James. Cool. So
James gets the hand-me-downs.
No, he doesn't get hand-me-downs. He gets good stuff this time.
But yeah, so there is another boss coming up, obviously.
That disc we picked up before the end of disc 2, we're finally gonna use that now. We're gonna access these notes. It'll start playing the disc on the gramophone, I believe that's what it is. And anytime you see the message, something's not right, that's your clue that there's a boss in the room. We've seen that a lot already. But in case you weren't aware, that's what that means. Also, this boss has a lot of HP, so we're gonna be here for a little bit.
Yeah, she also has a lot of legs. and arms and
Yes.
whatever is
A lot of
up
legs.
there on her torso. I believe she has 2 faces. Not entirely sure what her main body is made of, but anyway, that's Jezebel. She's just kind of hanging out. She's not a horrible monstrosity or anything. She's beautiful. Looks like a Silent Hill monster. Yeah, it does kind of look like a Silent Hill 3 monster or something. But yeah, she's just hanging out. Don't worry about it. Yeah.
In reality, the notes that we picked up after the disc explain sort of some rituals that some druids had performed where they were resurrecting the dead. As a result, in the journal, it depicts somebody attempting these experiments. Lo and behold, you have the exact reason why you shouldn't be doing stuff like that.
Yeah, you don't want to bring back the dead, just as like a general rule, but especially in this game.
Yeah, so yeah, now we have a good idea on why there's monsters running around and for what reason. We're not still 100% sure, but we have a good idea at this point. We'll know a bit more concrete information when we get to a point where we skip a few cutscenes. Now that we have those documents. But we have to first kill Jezebel here. Set her free.
Capture is freezing. Okay, it's not just on my end. The capture is freezing a little bit.
That'd be on the restream PC end.
Rip.
That's on the... Yeah, that would be on the marathon end.
If
Someone
Rada or
needs to
Zella's
ping them.
around. Also at Rod, I guess.
So I'm running 6% CPU and no frames dropped.
Let me actually ping them in the,
Alright. So a little bit more HP to deal with.
Hello, Rod. Can you restart the feed for us? Thank you. Alright, we're gonna try and get that sorted out.
Yeah, we're just dunking on this boss right now, so nothing too interesting is going on. This boss is just real beefy. A little bit left to do.
While we're beating up this boss, remember to donate, to check out the charity, all that good stuff.
There we go. Good job, James. You killed her.
Okay. Stream is restarting now, I believe. It is still freezing on my end.
Shouldn't be. Monka S. Seems okay now. Alright, let's hope. We're almost done anyways. Alright, so Jezebel gives us an automatic pistol at the end, but we don't want that. So we say nope, and yeet it to the oblivion. Upon leaving this room, we run into a cutscene with Elaine, who's the person who called us here in the first place. So Elaine is the reason why we're here. She contacted Koudelka, brought her to Patrick's estate in hopes to fix what Patrick has done so wrongly and tried to resurrect her in the process. So we now have learned that Elaine's body is now resurrected, but her spirit remains separated, her soul. And yeah, obviously that's no bueno for us, so we have to, figure out what we can do to stop that. Anyways, we climb up that staircase, we go in this little side room, we activate a secret trap door here. We end up in this little, like, offshoot library where we meet Roger Bacon again. And we'll skip these 2 cutscenes with him.
Yep. Hi, Roger. Bye, Roger.
And that we picked up those notes earlier from the disc. That actually allows us to go outside this room, immediately turn around, go back in, fire up another cutscene with Roger, in which we'll talk more directly about the ritual in which the resurrecting of the dead occurred. Roger is, like, super, like, freaked out by this, at the same time of being very interested, because the only reason he's lived for 600 years is, like, not resurrecting, not casting, like, the spells on him, on dead people, but casting it on himself when he was alive, which is why he's not able to die. He's granted himself immortality in the process. So after that cutscene, we threw open the bolt, came over to this other room, examined this bookshelf twice for some reason. And we're going to... We need that information about learning what a hearth is for activating a hidden passageway when we come back here. We go into Patrick's lab to grab a bottle on a seemingly random shelf. And that is an empty bottle in which we'll do a little bit of backtracking to go fill up with acid. Which we will use said acid a bit later to make a bomb so that we can get into Disc 4. I know that sounds convoluted and complicated, but as Roger had said, gonna be complicated, very complicated. Or some manner of form of that. I mean, I find that cutscene pretty funny when he starts getting all riled up about it. But anyways, yeah, so we're just doing some backtracking right now, but not too much. So we're gonna hop on out of here. I mean, the other thing is, too, is like, the odds that someone will figure everything out blind in this game first try is incredibly low, unfortunately. Alright, so we got the acid. Now we can head back and continue our adventure through the game. That is our last moment of the game where we'll be doing any backtracking. So going forward from here, we're going to be at basically the point of no return.
So you better hope that you picked up that pendant, basically.
Pendant, all the other key items that you need.
Yeah, good luck if you haven't.
Because you cannot literally leave Disc 4 once you get going on Disc 4. Like, it's... You're locked in, ready to roll.
Yep, as mentioned before, if you miss that pendant, there is one last chance to get it through random encounter with a cat that you have to kill, but apart from that, you're basically screwed unless you reload a Disc 3 save from, so you can go back and grab it.
I know casually, I did not make a safety save like that, because I did not expect to get soft locked into the final game, part of the game. So, what did Mash do about that? Well, you know what this Mash boy did? He restarted the entire game and still fell for the same trick. When I say it took me like 70 plus hours to go through this game casually the first few times, I am not joking. Alright, upside down gunman hurts. He's making it very difficult to run away. Alright, so now that we got that, we got some puzzles to get through. And then we have one final boss of Disc 3, but we have a little bit of a, hopefully a short grind before that.
Yeah, so we're going to be doing a grind because basically this next boss has 2 stances. And basically it's immune to wind, first off. It doesn't move at all in its first stance, and you can only attack it while it's in that first stance because he absorbs all damage in his second stance. So what we're going to do is we're going to try and bypass all that by getting a scroll item that will one-shot him, or pretty close to one-shot him, so we don't have to do that the whole song and dance, all that good stuff. But yeah, so we're gonna try and kill those little, like, jellyfish wiggly-looking dudes as they can drop it. And we're basically just gonna be running against a wall for a while. Or hopefully not a while, hopefully it'll drop, like, first try.
Yeah.
Everybody give your energy for some good RNG.
And we're hoping out of the magic scrolls, which are 4 elements, that it doesn't drop an air one, because that would be useless.
Yeah, since that's immune to wind, that's basically the worst possible option that we can get.
Alright, so this is our session where we'll do a short little bit of grinding.
Yeah,
This game was very nice with us with RNG so far, I mean.
Everybody give your strengths.
Hopefully we have the
need, like,
energy to get it.
Get Goku Spirit Bomb for the RNG to cooperate. This one last try. This is like the last bit that we need the RNG for. So we're gonna pray that the game succeeds.
Yep. So first encounter, not what we want, so we'll just run. Easy.
I guess while we're doing this, I could go a little bit into like the development of this game, just because I think it's a lot of fun facts.
Yep. Sounds good.
So yeah, basically this game is the brainchild of Hiroki Kikuta, who is best known as a composer for Square. Basically this was like his baby. He went off to create Saknoth with some fellow ex-Square employees. And there was like a lot of love and care put into this game. Basically, they all traveled to Wales to like do research. They did all the dialogue in English. The only thing that really went wrong was the combat system, because Kikuta did not want a turn-based RPG style like Square. He wanted something different, and honestly, to this point, I'm not actually sure what kind of combat he was looking for. But basically the staff had like a hard time with it, so they made the combat system that you see today with the chessboard, the turn-based tactical RPG style. But yeah, he really wanted to direct his own game, but Square was like, no, you're a composer, that's your job. So he was like, okay, screw y'all, I'm gonna go make my own company. But yeah, the game did not really sell very well, despite all like the effort and care put into it. They did like motion capture, they did full voice acting, they used subtitles with English. So basically it's like Near Gestalt, if you're familiar with that game, where they had only had English and then they added subtitles. I believe that at some point they did end up dubbing it in Japanese.
Yep.
Kikuta did do the entire soundtrack. He composed the entire thing. But basically, after that, Kikuta ended up leaving, and Saknoth went on to create Shadow Hearts.
Which did extremely well, might I add.
Shadow Hearts did really well. Koudelka did not do super well. But Kikuta's like biggest regret with this game was like not directly influencing the combat and gameplay. And you're gonna see in the credits later on, his name is basically under every single possible title you can be under, with the exception of the artists and programmers. he really wanted this game was like very much his like child, and the fact that it didn't do too well was another reason why he ended up leaving. But yeah, very very interesting story. I kind of wonder how it would have gone if they hadn't named it Koudelka, and maybe if they had named the first one like Shadowheart or something more like easily accessible, especially on the PS1 with like all of its really good RPGs. But yeah, it's a very impressive game. It has a lot of like voice acting. The entire thing is voice acted, full motion video, motion capture, all that good stuff. Some really cool creature design that you don't really see in a lot of games outside like Silent Hill and obviously like Resident Evil. But it's very clear they did a lot of research to try and make it like as accurate as Wales to possible. Really, I haven't been to Wales, so I don't know exactly how accurate it is.
Earth Scroll!
Earth
RNG!
Scroll! RNG was nice to us today.
It only took a couple encounters. That's great. We saved so much time.
You picked up this game from a used game store. That seems how most people have discovered it, because back when it came out, it did not have really good sales. Glad it went on to be the base for Shadowhearts. But yeah, RNG has blessed us today, which is good because
this is Apostle.
development.
Apostle's a giant. Well, he's a giant donkey. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, he has eyes. He can see all. But yeah, he's basically what like you would think of biblical. Like this is like what the biblical angel Be Not Afraid is basically supposed to look like. I'm pretty sure. The artists behind this game really captured the nightmare fuel of like, especially a lot of religious iconography. Which again, we skipped a lot of it, but there's a lot of it in this game.
Yeah.
I mean, the dude's name is Apostle. He's clearly supposed to be, like, you know, an angel of some sort. But yeah, basically, this is the final boss of Disc 3. As well as
Earth Scroll rolled short on damage, so we're hoping we get through before he starts healing.
Yeah, we want to kill him before he switches stances, ideally.
He's very close. He's just a little short. He's not wiggling around too much right now, so we should be okay. One more hit. Are you kidding me, James? You didn't do enough damage.
James, come on, James.
That might have screwed us if Koudelka can't get the spell cast in before he changes.
James ruins everything. James ruins runs. Pass it on.
We might have lost it here.
Be Not Afraid, I have no peripheral vision.
Oh, we got it. We got it. He didn't switch. I thought he switched when he went to go to cast that spell. Because it's really hard to tell what stance he's in when he's readying an attack of his own. But we got it. So we didn't have any...
James did not ruin the run, guys.
Yeah, James did not ruin it.
James did not ruin the run.
Ugh.
But that was also the third to last boss, I believe.
Yeah.
Or fourth to last. There's 3 more, technically. Of the game. The whole game.
Yeah.
Also arguably one of the harder ones if you don't have the scroll.
Yeah, it can be. Also, we level up a lot off this boss because, yeah, we're really underleveled. Like, I'm not kidding, like, very underleveled throughout most of the run.
That's not the runner. Generically named was the lovely runner who ran Final Fantasy right before us.
Yeah.
I believe if somebody can change the runner name, if possible.
My name is Mash, unfortunately. Alright, so we got a crossbow off Apostle, which is Edward's final weapon of the game. So now everybody's got their final weapon of the game. Koudelka got hers at the start of Disc 2. James got his about halfway into Disc 2, and Edward gets his at the end of Disc 3. So now we get this cutscene, which then will boot us into Disc 4. After looking at this door that was sealed, James like, I'm gonna open this door, let's make a bomb. So now that we already got the acid, we're halfway to having the bomb in our hands and then just coming back to this door and blasting it open.
Again, just little whales things.
Yep.
Normal way to blast open doors in Wales. You don't just open them, you
Just make
bomb 'em.
dynamite.
You just make
Warhead?
dynamite. It
Oh.
goes with the torture chamber aesthetic of Wales, so makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, well now we just gotta go back to Patrick's lab. We'll have a unskippable voiced dialogue come up with James, who says he'll begin his work and wants us to wait, in which there'll be a 15-minute cutscene, which we'll skip, where Edward and Koudelka get white girl wasted and have some feel moments and a really long conversation.
Can you two wait for me
Yeah,
here?
basically James is like, my family's rich and I never lived up to their expectations, and Koudelka's like, dang, that's rough, buddy, but like I've been persecuted and also like have psychic abilities and my life is really bad. So they basically just like whine about how bad their lives have been, which, you know, it's a historical fiction game. So Koudelka's actually Romani, which they go into a lot in this game. But yeah, they basically just like take turns telling each other like how bad their lives have been, and then I guess they like make out and do, but that might be later. If you know
Not
anything
at that
about
moment. They really, like, they're only just warm. Like, the characters of the game at this point are only starting to just, like, become friends.
which is funny because this is the final disc, but
Yeah. Like, they were really not liking each other at all when they first met. In fact, Koudelka wanted to kill Edward as soon as she saw him. Likewise, when they both met at James, they wanted to off James immediately. Oh boy.
Which makes sense. He's pretty useless, so.
Yeah. So we got a series of cutscenes in Disc 4. It's a lot of cutscenes that we skipped through. Like I said, 15 minutes being one of them. So now we got the door blasted open. Got another cutscene in which we walk into the back end of the, like, behind the church. Which we would have saw the end of Disc 3 where we saw something growing or moving around behind. And we find out in here that there's the Tree of Life. Which was manifested after Patrick performed the druidic ritual of resurrecting Elaine, his wife, who Patrick also loved when they were in school together. But Patrick left to become a bishop. Or, sorry,
James.
James left to become a bishop because he couldn't provide the money and the care that Elaine would have required, because she was a high-class woman.
So basically, to go into this, Patrick was like an old college friend of James. They both like the same girl. Elaine died because some robbers broke in and killed her. And Patrick was like really devastated by that, obviously, because you know his wife died. So he decided to look into the dark arts of necromancy to bring her back to life. So yeah, that's kind of why this whole like monastery is kind of screwed up. Is dude tried to bring his wife back to life, and it went badly, as it usually does.
For years, I add that in the document that we don't really read in the speedrun, and if you watch the cutscenes, they touch base on a little bit, is he's been trying to prepare and perform and practice these rituals for years at this point, which is why there's so much death around here. That's why there's so many dead bodies and corpses littered around the place.
Yeah, it's a pretty bad time.
Yeah. And the caretakers were totally in on helping them do that, because they were sad that Elaine died as well. They wanted revenge. So, very, very touching kind of stuff at this point. But anyways, we're at the point of no return. You remember at the start of Disc 2 where we picked up that statue arm? Well, now we're going to throw it into a boiling cauldron where the rituals were performed to kind of cleanse the area. Obviously, the Tree of Life didn't like that. James decided to throw some gasoline around the place earlier as well in one of the cutscenes we skipped, and light the whole place on fire with his lantern he was carrying around.
Which is kind of the logical thing to do, really. Like, especially since he's not super down on Koudelka being able to talk to spirits and do all that cleansing stuff. Like, You might as well just set the whole thing on fire. Like, that's basically the only way to kill a tree, if you really think about
My
it.
disc cover is not open. What is wrong with this game? There we go. Please? There we go.
Maybe.
What's going on? Game.
Oh.
This disc cover is being very touchy.
Disc cover RNG.
There we go. I'm in the future, I'm probably gonna get a different one of the 3 other PlayStation models that I have here. This one seems to be on its last legs.
It's doing its best.
I couldn't handle all of that DOD 2 for the...
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, it was like all the DOD 2 running, it's just giving up.
It's finally getting around to giving up. Or PS2.
But yeah, so this is the Tree of Life. There's just some roots hanging out. Just they're really upset. So basically, there's a couple different versions of it. There's the regular root with 5,400 hit points, as well as the Patrick root, which you can tell is it because there's just a guy hanging onto it.
Yeah, we skipped the cutscene where we saw him dead inside, and yeah, James was very shocked to see him dead. He was hoping he'd be alive and he'd be able to save him, but obviously that didn't happen.
Yeah, like honestly, of all the creature design in this game, the Patrick root's actually kind of subtle. Like it's like very like obvious. It's just a man hanging onto a root. It could have been way more horrifying, but they decided to save that for like the last boss that we're gonna see.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that we're already on this section and in this fight, pretty decent RNG, not like this. The start of the run started really well, I will say.
Yeah,
I would say we got really welcoming marathon RNG at this point, which I was a little scared we wouldn't get because of how awful the RNG can be.
As I mentioned at the beginning, it took an hour and a half to create a backup save file that was runnable, just because the weapon RNG at the very beginning was really bad.
And we didn't even have to use it. Because we got, like, the best possible weapon pairing that you could ask for.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the weapon combination that you dream of in your runs, really.
Yep. That I never see in my actual runs.
Yeah, we're just gonna kill these roots, and then we have a final boss.
Yeah, so this is just like the last bit of a climb and a gauntlet. So the thing to note about this fight is we have a lot of HP on Edward specifically to get through these bosses at the end of the game because they do absurd amount of damage really quickly.
Yep, they do basically I believe they actually exclusively do melee damage too, correct?
No, they have some ranged magic attacks as well.
Yeah, so another thing we didn't really touch on, basically once you get to a spiritual level with your magic, you actually hit everything in a horizontal row, and the enemies can do this as well, which is why you'll notice that all the characters are a bit staggered and not standing directly next to each other. You want to avoid them whacking more than one of your characters at once while trying to line them up so that you can hit them with more than one with a spell.
Yeah, because we didn't do the grinding, we don't actually have level 2 fire, which is a little unfortunate.
Yeah, if we had that would be really useful in this fight here.
Yeah. The benefit
but the enemies do have level 2 spells, so that's why we're not stacked up together.
Yeah, we don't want to be like stacked up on the same rows. It's usually pretty bad for that to happen. Ooh, that's a multi-hit. We don't want to be seeing that. So yeah, we're gonna try to kill these. Alright, so we only have 2 left. We should only have 1 left shortly. So instead of attacking with Edward, we're just gonna use that high potion we picked up earlier. We actually have a couple extras, which is nice. Bring them out of the danger zone.
One
So that we
wonders how
can-
they know where to hit without eyes. I believe since it's a tree, they probably have like roots. At least I see it as like they have roots underneath the ground that can kind of sense. But also,
Yeah.
it's like the tree of life, so it's like it's a
It's
a
all
messed up
around.
tree.
It's all around, man. This whole
Yeah.
place is just a giant tree, you know?
Also, Patrick could theoretically still have eyes. Depends on how fresh the corpse is, though, I guess.
He looks like he's been sitting there for a while, at least
Yeah,
in the
he's just been
cutscene.
hanging out.
He looks like he's been vibing for, you know, a good like, you know, couple dozen years, maybe more.
Yeah, you know, just little things. How old are? Do we know how old like James and all them are? Or is it just like they're just older? They ever like talk
I
about that? 'Cause
mean,
Koudelka's like 19 in this game. I
yeah,
believe.
Koudelka's really young. Edward's a little older than her. I think
Yeah, he's
James is the
20,
oldest.
I believe.
I want
I'll
to
look
say
this up, actually.
James I think is the oldest, but not by much.
He's 53, so he's like 30 years older. So
Oh yeah, okay, that
yeah,
makes sense.
Patrick could have been hanging out for a while dead. We're not 100% sure.
Yeah, like probably like 20, 30 years at this point.
Yeah.
Because like the journal describes at least like the first like decade of research and stuff that he was doing. Leading up to
18 years. 18 years she died. So it's been a hot minute.
Yeah.
Just waiting for someone to come cleanse her spirit. Yeah, at this point the bosses are really tanky since we haven't really been grinding that much. So they just have a ton of HP, but we're gonna just slowly whittle them down. It is still faster than having to grind it out, though.
Yeah, going through multiple extra fights is a lot slower than just trying to manage with what you got, stat level properly, and then, you know, hopefully get decent gear. I don't think our stats on our gear have been that kind to us, unfortunately, so...
Yeah. What's your PB at? 208?
208.
Yeah, so we'll be close.
This is going a little bit slower because our damage is falling off because of not having good stat rolls, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Even with the good RNG on the start, like, the problem we run into is the stat rolls. But I mean, my estimate's 240 for a good, very good reason.
Yeah, we have time. We have time.
I'm not worried about when we finish this run at this point. We are already past all of the major hurdles that could really slow us down. It's just
Maybe we'll
go,
get
go,
to
go.
watch the second to last boss cutscene.
Oh, we're gonna watch them for sure. There's no way I'm not watching them. We have lots of leeway, and we're doing charity, so. Yeah. So we're doing some leveling. We got some idols here that'll kind of help us out a little bit. The one thing I do want to do is we're gonna go in here. We're gonna quickly use a couple of them. We're gonna use the Vit on Koudelka. We're going to use the Strength on Edward, just to get out our inventory, and the Luck we'll use it on James. Honestly, those aren't really good idols, but it's fine. Alright, Koudelka needs to learn how to climb this rickety old staircase here. And then we're at the second part here, in which we'll be facing the Vine with Patrick on it, which has almost 10,000 HP.
Yeah, this guy's a beefy boy.
Yeah.
Not entirely sure why he has like twice as much HP as the other route, but maybe just having like a dead body tacked onto it kind of does that.
I mean, it would make it, it's almost like if there was like 3 routes here, but there's only 2 now, right? So I think that's why they did it that way, because it's the exact number of HP that 2 routes would have had.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You know, minus 1,000 HP. So
We're just gonna be doing the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, the dangerous thing about this fight, these two fights with the Tree of Life, is literally just not having someone die to their melee damage, because they can hit thousands multiple times in a single turn.
Disappointed it's not Patrick Star. Maybe there's a mod out there for it, for the emulator version. That'd be good. Like the non-horror version, and it's just like a PS2.
Yeah, they turned
model.
everything cutesy. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, same old. Try to think of any other cool lore.
You want to have an
hits
idea of
we
how
have.
terrible Edward is as casting? I just accidentally made him cast magic. It did 0.
Yeah. He's trying. He's doing his best here. Still better than James. Really, if you think about it.
No, not at this point. James is useful now. He's doing damage.
Everybody hear that? James is useful now. At the second to last boss fight.
I always try sometimes in runs to like get James to show me that he's a useful boy and that I can appreciate him more. But like, he manages to always disappoint me somehow.
Yeah, I mean, you know, he's trying. But not really. Is he even useful in like a casual playthrough really, or do you still just like beef up Koudelka?
I mean, no, I use James and Edward a lot more, but I also play the game very differently, and it could be a mistake to play it the way I do, because I play video games wrong sometimes when I'm not speedrunning.
I mean, you still finished the game, so is it really wrong?
That's true, 70 hours later, but, you know.
But you still finish, that's what matters.
I still finish, so. It's not how you got there, it's the journey along the way, or
Yeah,
something
exactly.
of that sort.
But yeah, this game is connected to Shadowheart if you played that game. There's a couple familiar characters, a couple characters that are implied to be around. But yeah.
I know James is mentioned in Shadow Hearts 1, I think.
Yes.
At
he
some
is.
point. I always forget like what the direct tie in relation to why he's mentioned.
I think there's like a grave with him.
Like one of the main characters in Shadow Hearts 1 mentions him for some reason.
Yeah. Which we'll talk about why he has a grave later. I mean, he died, obviously, but at some point. But yeah.
I mean, does one get a grave after they die, or if they've lived long enough to earn the grave?
I mean, I'm pretty sure Roger Bacon has a grave despite being alive in this universe.
Well,
so.
he was presumed in a conversation that we had with him. They presumed that they had killed him, but he escaped. So, to their knowledge, he died, you know, when he escaped. I don't know the
Yeah.
exact details on that, but
Yeah, his grave is definitely there in Shadow Hearts. I was doing research for this commentary run, because I actually have never played this series. But yeah, so his grave is there, and Roger Bacon mentions him. But apart from that, like Edward's not directly mentioned, and I believe Koudelka actually does appear, but just as like a kind of minor-ish character. But yeah, Edward is kind of more like, if you know, you know, but if you don't really miss out on anything.
he was. Well, we'll explain a bit more about Edward when we get to it, but like.
Good old Edward.
Things went sideways.
Uh-oh.
This could be bad.
Uh-oh. This is like...
All right, he should be almost dead. Like, why did he kill?
We're clenching, y'all. We're clenching, y'all.
Why did he kill Edward like that?
Oh, we don't need that whiskey.
I can't revive.
Yeah, disc for me. We fight trees.
I can't revive Edward because he's too close to me. I have to get him to back off. this be Monka S moments right now. Get your clenches ready.
Yeah, we're clenching now.
He should be really close to being dead at this point. Like, I don't know how he managed to do that much damage to kill Edward. I thought I was safe. Oh boy.
Oh god.
Oh.
Hey, maybe he'll just kill James and then...
I don't know about that. I'm gonna move away. Oh, thank God. That's the best possible thing I could see him do right now.
Oh, God.
We're out of MP, so I need to use a Lissel that we picked up.
Oh god, we're clenching. We're clenching,
We're
guys.
clenching so hard right now. This has not happened in like 3-4 dozen runs.
Disc 4 the trees have too much health, yeah.
Alright, he's gonna cast magic. That's like the best possible thing I could see him cast on me. Now, I'm hoping he doesn't get too close so I can get Edward back up. Don't... Okay, he's not moving. Okay, good. So, yeah, so we're gonna revive. Obviously, Edward first. Get him alive, heal him, and then we can get James back up and then not die.
Hopefully. Ideally.
That was scary
still
because,
clenching.
like I
We're
said,
still
like
clenching.
our rearguard characters are super squishy, and he's like almost dead. If he backed off the way he did, that means he is low health, and that's
So we
a good
should
thing.
be okay now.
Okay, he lives. Alright, so this is where we go, you know, that high potion that we still have, we heal that. Alright. I mean, the game gave us really good RNG up until this point. I expect a bit of fight back.
Yeah, this is the improv part of the run, which you don't want to see in tactical.
There would have been a lot of
RPGs.
improv at the beginning of the run had we not gotten the good start.
Yeah, much like with like pretty much every tactical RPG, if you have to improv, it's not a great time. Usually, like the AI in this game behaves in a very specific way.
Yeah,
Usually,
it didn't this time.
it didn't this time, which is incredibly unfortunate.
Yeah, I was not ready. Like, keep in mind, like, Edward has a lot of health. Like, an absurd amount of health. And managed to get downs. Which is rather unfortunate against a boss that has nearly 10,000 HP.
Yeah, but thankfully he's almost dead. We're almost done with this boss fight, and then we have 2 more boss fights, I believe.
3.
But it's 3, yes. Sorry,
Well,
I was counting the next one as 1, but yeah, there's 3 more boss fights.
Yeah. Alright, anyways, so we have technically, as Kath mentioned... Oops. I want the agility. Specifically here. Good on that. We'll get a little bit of extra HP for safety. Just because that was a little Monka-S. Alright, we've got Piety and Int, so that's good. So those idols will help us. We get a full heal. We're back in safety land, which is...
Yeah, we're good now. We're okay.
Yeah, we're okay now.
Then I feel like just as a courtesy, since we are going to be watching this cutscene, body horror warning.
Yes.
Just if like bodies moving in ways they're not supposed to makes you squeamish, I would recommend looking away for now. Just as a courtesy, it's a really cool cutscene, but yeah, just take care of yourself.
Yeah, this cutscene can be a little disturbing for some people, but it's also really cool at the same time. And yeah, we're not on the PB pace, but we're still in our estimate range, because unfortunately this game is just RNG and I have to try to account for it as best I can.
Yeah.
And, you know, some wild stuff happened in this run. We had some good RG, we had some bad and unexpected stuff happen. We wouldn't be a Koudelka run without some interesting stuff going on. But anyways, cutscene automatically plays here. This section, depending on if you have the key item that we picked up earlier or not. And I'll just let this speak for itself. It's funny that you mentioned Parasite Eve, because I'm actually learning Parasite Eve, and I have been while practicing and getting ready for this. But, yeah, like, that's Elaine, by the way.
He's beautiful.
Look at that. Elaine's just trying to say hello.
This is the ideal female body. Just
So, yeah, Elaine's got multiple phases. There's 3 phases to this boss fight. And we're trying to get to the top of the bell tower here to escape. And,
it's Parasite Eve now.
yeah, basically.
Yeah, isn't she beautiful, Alice? Her knees, she's flexible.
Bro,
Like, I don't know. This is ideal. This is wife material.
Also, we have jams now. Really, really good jams.
Yeah, if you have any jamming emotes, go ahead and drop those in.
Alright, so we needed the 66 plus agility on Koudelka, or at least 60, so that we could set up Reflect in the first turn before she casts her first spell, but we're a little bit too slow that she's gonna get it off before we get the Reflects up. But that's fine, because we get the Reflect up now, and the worst thing that happens at this point is that we get poisoned. We just need Edward to hold on during the fight. He doesn't necessarily need to do anything at all. We leave all the damage up to Koudelka and James, and Kath can explain why I focus on all the menuing.
Yeah, so basically each one of her phases has a separate resistance. So basically this first phase, she resists water and earth, whereas in her next phase she absorbs fire and air. But we're going to be reflecting damage off of James and Koudelka so that it actually reflects back on her and damages her. Edward's just gonna kind of chill. So we're gonna just hope that the Reflect plus the Flare and Tornado will be enough to take her down. James is just, again, going to vibe. Although there are some runs where he's actually useful enough to bother casting with him. I don't know if this is one of them.
No, if we do,
no,
it's only to buff with one single spell, because he doesn't have enough stats to do more than one spell cast. He only has 8 MP, which is a level 1 spell cast.
Yeah, if we can get an F in the chat for James's stats. But yeah.
Or Edwards, you mean? But yeah.
Or Edwards, yeah. But yeah, so basically, we're going to cast the Flare and Tornado, we're going to reflect damage, and then we're going to wait with Koudelka until she casts her second attack, and then we're just going to start flaring again once she starts casting. So we really just need Edward to hang on. We need James to hang on.
As well,
and
yeah.
James is basically just going to be casting Reflect, pretty much.
Well, you only need to cast it once, and hopefully she dies before it wears off, or else, yeah, he's going to cast it on Koudelka as a safety precaution.
But yeah, that's basically this entire boss fight, is we just hope that
if you don't do this setup, you just die really quickly.
Yeah,
casually, this is a struggle.
Yeah, as mentioned, she resists water and earth, so you need to be very careful with what you use.
It's also immune to physical damage as well, which is why Edward's not doing anything.
Yeah, Edward just kind of vibes because of that. But it's okay because he gets to help next time in the next phase. Next phase, she actually can get bapped with the crossbow. Yeah, we're gonna hope that the reflect lasts long enough and that she dies, because as you can see, we're already kind of taking... We took a beating, like, a lot just from that first hit before reflect went out.
Yeah, and we're slowly ticking away on poison damage every action as well.
She also has 11,666 or 64 HP in this form, and then her next one has 11,600. So she's tanky, as to be expected from the #1 resurrected corpse, I guess. Also, if we hadn't gotten Koudelka's pendant, that cutscene we saw, she would have just breathed poison all over them and melted their faces, and it's actually incredibly graphic. Especially for a PS1 game, it shows like their flesh melting off and like their skulls, and they like fall down. It looks like the you say Indiana Jones, which I assume you have. It looks like the ending scene of that.
Yeah.
Which is kind of wild that they just decided to slap that in a PS1
Reflect
game.
kind of wore off a little early.
James is gonna be useful again, then. We're gonna hope that we don't have to clutch here.
Alright, for safety, we're gonna cast heal on both our back characters with their turn. That'll full heal themselves so that they don't die to a spell cast. Because they're really low and the poison damage has really been hurting us as well. Edward's gonna go down, but that's totally a-okay.
Yeah, we don't need him anyway for this, it's fine. We'll have him back next fight.
Yeah, our stats, I guess, for our gear, well, the RNG with getting certain things was nice. The stat rolls, not so nice, it seems.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate part of this game. Since everything's randomized, you can end up with things like this where...
oh, I casted... I totally casted the wrong thing on her by mistake. That was my bad.
Rip. Should still be fine. Just before Edward dies a lot. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, he's there to be the tank, and, like, honestly, like, what's a tank if not just the person who dies first?
And we know she's really low on health because she's, like, wigging out back there with, like, her little dance moves. That's usually what she does when she's low on health, and then she will also run into the corner of the screen. Like, the enemies are scripted to do some sort of, like, animation, and then also move themselves away from dangerous situations. Like, creating distance to take less damage, essentially.
Yeah, maybe Edward won't die. Maybe?
Oh,
Maybe
Edward's
he
dead.
lives?
Oh, he's dead.
Oh, well.
We're trying to rush this kill now.
We get an F for Edward in the chat. So we're almost done with this boss fight.
Just close. I just don't know how close at this point. Like, it's hard to gauge.
Yeah, her, these stat rolls actually are pretty rough. Usually Koudelka can do
A lot more
yeah.
spell casts and stuff, I know. This is why I'm, like, a little scared. And using Reflect used 18 mana, so it's, like, not viable for me to cast Reflect again. We're having a little bit of marathon luck towards the end here, which is a bit unfortunate.
Yeah, especially when it was such a good start.
Mm-hmm. Well, it can happen. Like, I've had runs start really well, end really badly, or start really bad, end very good, so... You could have almost anything happen in a game with as much RNG as Koudelka. The rough thing is just the fact that this spell does so much damage to us, and the reason why the casters aren't taking nearly as much damage is because, like, I mean, they have higher piety, which is, like, essentially magic resist.
Yeah, but they're still taking a beating. Like, you can see that 840 damage right there.
Yeah, and they don't even have that much HP compared to Edward, too, so, I mean, that's a lot for them. I mean, she's backed up in the corner now, so I know she's probably an attack or two away from dying, which is good.
Just clenching slightly. Just a little clenching.
Yeah. I mean, if we have to take it a little bit slower there, there we go. We played it safe. And she's down. So now we know exactly what we might run into on phase 2 when we get the re-encounter. That we can kind of better plan around that a little bit. I'll know to maybe recast Reflect up before we get to that point. Yeah, so we're gonna heal up everybody here. We need them nice and healthy for the next boss fight. We need to use those Hylisos that we picked up to restock our MP on both Koudelka and James, and then go into the second part of the fight here.
Yep, we have 2 more phases. This next phase is going to be basically the same as the first, except that now you can't use Flare or Tornado because she absorbs that. And also Edward can shoot her. And then phase 3 is really something, and people who have played this game know that it's a very difficult fight, especially since we're so low level. It's going to be pretty clenchy. It's a lot of strategy, but we'll talk about that once we get there. We have this boss fight first, where we're going to just be using Megalithic Geyser instead of Tornado and Flare. And again,
Edward's useful?
Edward's useful, yes.
Yeah, the real damage in these fights with this boss is having Reflect up so that her own damage is hurting her.
Yeah, if you lose Reflect, it takes a lot longer, and you end up with those types of situations where it's just sad hours, especially if you got bad stat rolls.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've had not great stat rolls, but I mean, it happens. So, yeah, hopefully with the added damage from Edward, we'll be able to down her before the Reflect wears off this time around. I'm hoping.
Everybody, again, give your energy. We need it. Especially for the final phase, but yeah.
I'm not looking forward to that phase.
Yeah, that's not gonna be a fun phase. Especially with these low numbers. But hopefully we'll be able to... We still have, like, 10 more minutes on the encounter, so hopefully we can hopefully pull it out, and if we go a little overestimate, that's fine.
I'm usually really good with calculating my estimates when it comes to the games that I play.
We still have some time, and
Koudelka,
we're gonna see some really... Her numbers are just...
Why is
this run?
Koudelka's doing so low damage? Like, James is doing more damage than her, which is absurd.
Yeah, this is... James, like, stole all of her energy, I'm pretty sure, because this is not the Koudelka I know. The Koudelka I know does, like, 1,000-some damage, usually, by this point in the game.
Yeah. Like, I do not know what the hell's going on.
It's okay, she just hit herself for 1541, so we're getting there slowly. Chipping away.
Yeah, like, these numbers are really, really low compared. Like, we're usually hitting just under 1,000 with the magic casters, even with our high magic res. But, like, they're very unfortunately low numbers.
Yeah, James doing more damage than Koudelka is really... It's really something. And Edward doing more damage than both of them is even something more.
Oh, that's...
The chip damage here.
Yeah.
Might need to recast Reflect, unfortunately.
Yeah, looks like we do.
Usually this boss battle goes a lot faster.
Our numbers are just not there. So.
These are... I'm gonna be honest, they're pretty abysmal numbers.
It's
Like
unfortunate.
even for this game. I'm very scared for the last boss battle, actually.
There's
There's gonna be a lot of clenching. Holy moly.
Yeah, I don't think I've clenched this hard towards the end of the game than till now. Like, this is...
Yeah, usually once you get past that scroll part, it's actually very scripted. But this is... I actually have not seen this before. So I'm not sure how many runs you've seen this in MASH, but... Usually it's a lot more straightforward than this.
Yeah. Alright, she's
But
almost
hey,
dead. She's running
everyone
into the
loves
corner.
improv, right?
She's running
Right,
into the
guys?
corner, so that's good news for us. We have a new reflect up, despite me not wanting to use it.
Well,
But
that's
marathon
better than
safety.
Yeah, it's also better since Koudelka's only doing like 300 damage a hit.
I cast the
So-
wrong spell. Awesome, I healed her.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
I
A little bit longer with good old Elaine.
I scrolled up too far, and I hit the wrong
Oh,
spell.
and that was the most damage that James has done this entire boss battle to heal her.
Heal.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Watch, Koudelka's gonna do god tier numbers now.
Oh,
Alright, that's fine. We have reflect back up, so I mean that's gonna chunk away some of that health that we gave her. That's just, yeah, rather unfortunate. I scrolled up too far when I casted reflect, and now we just gotta fix that now. That's fine.
yeah. Hopefully it'll be okay.
I mean, all that matters this run is gonna finish under estimate, so that's fine.
Yeah, this is we have some extra minutes to deal with the final boss, so
Kill. Kill her.
400 damage. Oh jeez. Sub 400 numbers are not a good time.
She's so close. Oh, that was a double poison tick that went off there. Interesting.
We're still clenching.
Yeah, Reflect's not doing a whole lot, so she doesn't have that much health left. Just a matter of getting her
Oh,
down.
bye, Edward.
Yeah, Edward going down is fine.
F for Edward. Again.
I'm hoping... Oh, there we go! Alright, we're home free now. Kind of.
Alright.
Hope somebody's ready on the time, because I'll be coming up soon.
Yeah, this upcoming boss is really challenging, but we can actually finish it pretty quickly, using very specific strategies.
Yeah. One of the strategies here is to not save, go into this cutscene, and we're into a boss.
Yeah, this boss is actually really hard. If you played it casually, you would know. It's a really difficult boss encounter, and we're gonna play it really safe, really careful. And I'm really excited to let Mash's great gameplay experience with this part we're gonna show off some really good strategies here.
Yeah. I really like this strat. It's called Die Fast. Yeah, we're gonna game over here, actually. We're gonna kill the run prematurely.
We're gonna put the run out of its misery.
I'm surprised you did go for James, honestly.
Yeah, this is some masterful gameplay.
Oh, this is the attack I
happening
wanted
right
to
now.
see.
Yeah, this is the final fight.
Alright. And then time coming up in 3, 2, 1, and that's time.
GG.
I mean, underestimate, and just enough time to watch this brief little cutscene before we roll on out of here, which is great.
Yeah, so in case you aren't aware, there's two different endings you can get in this game. There's what's considered the good ending, which is you defeat the final boss and everybody lives. And there's this ending, which is actually the canon ending for Shadowheart, where you lose and James kicks the bucket. F to James. He was so helpful this journey. Actually did end up being more helpful than Koudelka at the end there. So I do truly mean F this time. But yeah, this is the canon ending for Shadow Hearts. You lose.
Yeah, James sacrifices himself to save him and Elaine together so they can go spend the rest of their days in heaven, I guess.
Timer's still going. Oh, that's fine. You can retime it. But yeah.
I got a 2:36:34, so I mean, it is what it is.
Not the worst time you could get, so.
It's pretty bad compared to my average lately, yeah. The end of the run got a little, interesting. Good start, very much died towards the end.
Yeah, that was a...
You know what, I'm gonna blame it on running away from that cat.
Yeah, maybe if we'd killed the cat, but we did raise $100 for charity, so I think it's worth it.
It's worth it, I guess. But yeah, that's exactly why I have a 240 estimate on a game that normally just takes about a couple hours to go through. Well, we finally get to see Roger Bacon. He doesn't look like the Roger Bacon in Shadow Hearts, but trust me, that's the dude.
You just find him.
Obviously, Edward coming to that tent and Koudelka being in there, we all know what that implies. But anyways, cutscene's almost over, and then we can hand it off, get the next runs going. Very much appreciate being able to show this wild game of sorts, because it's really cool. Just unfortunately hard to deal with sometimes with the RNG.
What does it mean? I haven't even asked you yet.
Yeah, that's Edward and Koudelka. They do the do. They have a kid later, and he just kind of rides off into the wilderness. We deal with that in the next game. But yeah.
Is it okay, child, for you not to follow him?
Yeah.
Yeah, they you know, they
I have a feeling.
Shooter, a drastic baby. I'm a thinker, I could break it down. I'm a shooter, a drastic baby. I'm a thinker, I could break it down. I'm a shooter, a drastic baby. I'm a thinker, I could break it down. I'm a shooter, a drastic baby. I'm a thinker.